Hey, thank you for joining us on this special episode, which is episode 10.
That's right. I'm Matt Orchard.
I'm Kevin Drewberg, and as this is the 10th episode, double digits, we're going double time on this.
Yep, we're going to give you a special 2-hour episode.
This
right?
many.
We kind of had to stretch it out at the end, but hey, we got there. That's the main thing.
Yep, watch it. You'll like it. We liked recording it, and so...
this week we're going to talk about Rob Ford over in Canada there. Anthony Weiner as well. Just a little bit of a flashback there. Ben Affleck and his gambling and his...
Batman.
Counting and it being Batman and Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the word literally.
Yep.
We're going to talk about...
can we live on Mars? Can we live on Pluto? Should Pluto be a planet? Should we reinstate it? What's going on in the universe?
Is Google invading our privacy that bad of a thing? I don't know. We'll discuss the benefits of that.
Stay tuned. You can find out.
Ep010 updates as always. We'll bring that up to you right at the start of the hour.
Yep. Some few things happening on Twitter. Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. is opinionated about those standard tests these days. So
I have a very special movie review for you on the movie Blinded, whether or not you should see it. We'll find the answers in this episode.
I'll review a bit of TV. We're going to talk about South Park quite a lot during the episode and The Simpsons.
If you like that, keep a watch out.
Yeah, Justin Bieber makes an appearance. He's got the syrup at the moment.
He has the poison, and he also has the remedy to Bieber fever and how you can cure that. So keep an eye out for that. And Dumb and Dusted this week.
Regular Sippin, Dumb and Dusted. We're not going to tell you the subject of that one because that's always a secret. But you tune in to the end there.
Stay tuned.
And then we're just going to give you some bonus content at the end.
2 hours coming at you. Man, these shows all suck.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
We could do better than this. Hey, let's do it.
Hey.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yep, thank you as usual for tuning in to episode number 10.
Double digits.
Double digits, double time. So we've decided that what we're going to do this week, just to celebrate, we're going to make it a 2-hour episode.
That's right.
I know not many people will even watch the full 1 hour when we do it normally, but now you have double the time not to watch.
Yep.
But it's going to be good, okay? It's in all seriousness. Stay tuned and keep watching.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today.
And in the same vein as our celebrating this show is a celebration behind us.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were debating whether to go to a birthday party because it's not really an anniversary or a birthday. We're only, well, I mean...
It's an episode-ary.
Yeah, we're 10 weeks-ish, but not counting the audio ones we did, which were a fortnight apart, so we've technically been doing it. Or the one we did 3 years ago.
But any excuse for a party.
Yeah,
we're out for it.
So thanks, kids, for having us.
And for they've promised to be patient and quiet for 2 hours, just chilling in the back. They've got cake and Whiz-Fizz and
freeze. Don't fucking move! Don't fuck... Yeah, like that.
Just got to keep on them. Just keep them in line.
Yeah, that's right. Like the models we had. That was kind of like a reference.
There you go.
If you guys are long-term viewers, then you might remember that we kind of had that as a thing with the models that were
the beach babes.
On the beach. Yeah.
Beach
babes in a bowler. That was a good episode, wasn't it, Kevin?
We've had quite the last episode, episode 9. I was a big fan of. I think we do quite well, and I think this one's going to be the best yet.
Before we go into any of the week's happenings, I suppose
we should introduce ourselves.
Oh, well, okay, my name is Matt.
And I'm Kevin.
Yeah, but I was thinking that we should just start with... Not only because we usually start with this toward the start. Sorry for saying start so much. But also because it has been a story that we've been with basically since the start.
Yep.
And...
Always kept on top of it and always brought you the updates every week.
Maintained our integrity as reporters, and we'll probably submit ourselves for... what is it again?
The Nobel Peace Prize?
The Nobel Prize or the Pulitzer.
Both.
Yeah, both of them.
And a plaque in the Smithsonian.
Yeah, so we'll be looking at that. But it's ongoing coverage for MH370. So,
ongoing coverage. So the MH370 has been missing, and this week we bring you the updates. So what are the updates, Matt?
They still haven't found it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we've got Rob Ford is in the news, the Toronto mayor.
Yeah, so do you want to give the recap?
Yeah, so for anybody who's been living under a rock, Tom Ford has been on the rock. See what I did there?
Yeah, there's like a pun.
He likes to smoke rock, crack cocaine.
Yeah. And drink, he's a big drinker.
He is. Yeah, he gets into drunken stupors, as his coined catchphrases now. But he's back at it again. So he's been doing a lot of great work for the people in Toronto, and I think that's undeniable. But his downfall is that because he's putting in so much hours, he needs the extra energy. He's been smoking crack cocaine.
Yeah. And he likes to drink. The thing I love about Rob Ford, speaking of saying catchphrases, drunken stupid is catchphrase. I think his biggest catchphrase of all time is "I've got more than enough to eat at home." That was my personal favorite. Did you see?
In what context? No, I didn't.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, I'm sorry to most people watching this would have heard of it. I mean, you've probably been living under a rock if you haven't heard of this one. This was like after the first time he got caught smoking crack, he got into some other trouble, and like the other one was that some reporter, I believe a reporter, alleged that he said some lewd comments about her, and the comments were something like "I'd like to eat her pussy" or whatever. And he denied it in a press conference. Just toward the end of the press conference, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I just want to deny, Alicia, whatever, saying that I wanted to eat her pussy." He actually said it, the words.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. Everyone's like, "What?" Like, in an official press conference, he said, "Eat pussy," and then he's like, "I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. All right, thank you."
There you
and
go.
then he wraps it up. That was a great moment.
I have an app on my Android phone which is a soundboard, and it's got his face, and you press it, and he just gives out his catchphrases.
And it didn't have more than enough to eat at home?
No, it didn't.
Wow. Okay, but I mean, I think this is all-time best. The thing I like about Rob Ford is he's just so unapologetic about it, with the exception of this week, actually.
But he gets results. That's why he can do it.
That's the funny thing. I think his approval ratings have gone down now, finally, but for a while there,
Well, the approval,
his approval ratings stayed the same, or even went up a little bit after the first.
but now people are like, well, regardless of what he's doing, this is like the kind of person he is, so we don't like him. But I think if you look at the merits alone on what he's done and the way he's turned around like the economy and all his working conditions, everything in Toronto.
Do you know specifically what he has done? Because I know he was broadly popular before the whole thing. Right?
He smoked so much crack cocaine, he's just done everything.
Right.
Put it all on his back.
But the thing I like about him is, like, up until now, he's so unapologetic. I think once, again, like, after the initial crack cocaine ones, like, he got really drunk and, like, they were saying, oh, he's outside of town hall or whatever, like, being loud and belligerent. And they're like, Rob Ford, were you drinking last night? And he's like, it was Friday. Were you drinking last night? Good response. I mean, he definitely has issues, but...
There's footage of him in a drunken stupor at a fast food restaurant. You seen this?
I think so, yeah. He's like talking about kick-ass or whatever.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's incoherent, just what he's saying, and then he starts talking about there's like reporters hiding in the bushes and shit, and he can't live his life. It's great, and the people there just filming out, what the hell is happening?
And I think this round, like, so there was more video of him smoking crack in his sister's basement.
Yeah.
And he also said, like, a competing kind of politician, like, he'd fuck her, like, he would... It was something like, I'd jam something in her or something along those lines.
Keeping it real. He was, there was footage of him in the, not the Congress, but whatever the local town hall in Toronto is. And there's this old lady, politician, who's in the back of the room, and he's like, just runs towards her and just tackles her.
He bull rushes her, yeah.
And then just before she tips over, he like puts her back up and just goes back to where he is.
Yeah, as if like, alright, that was my point. What was that about?
He was trying to get to somebody else and she was in the way.
Oh, right.
But,
and there's that one where he's like walking down the corridor and like he just hit in the head with like a boom mic or a camera or something.
Yes, yeah.
I think he runs into the camera. Just runs into the camera. And
Yeah. They're walking backwards and he's walking forwards towards them.
Yeah.
Great guy. But I stand behind him, and so now he's gone to he's admitted himself into rehab. So he's trying to do what he can.
It does say, I just want to say, it does say something that it says something about how much of a record that he has, that we literally just went through a laundry list of things that he's done.
That anyone else would have got kicked out for.
And we didn't even really go into that much detail about everyone. We just managed to like, list one after the other all these kind of crack, drunken related things that he's done.
And if this show was 4 hours, we could probably keep going on this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're missing. I'm sure we've missed some things. There are a lot of things I think that he did. That he said he was going to kill somebody on tape. Like
there was some stuff about the bike lanes or something.
Yeah,
and he's
just
saying,
give me a room to roam with him and all.
And he's saying that every bike rider should get run over or something. I'm paraphrasing that, but yeah.
Right.
But apparently he's not stepping down, or he hasn't been taken out of the program. But he's trying to get himself clean, and then rerun for the next term.
Do you think he's got a chance?
I do. Like,
actually, he was sitting like,
especially if he redeems himself and gets the naysayers back on board.
I think it was something like, the front runner's at 35 and he's at 28 or whatever. Like, he's not that distant in the polls.
Yep.
He's certainly not. I think he's the second runner by in like a fair gap, but gaps can be closed.
And in general, humans like giving other humans second chances. So he's up to his 4th chance. So definitely should get some votes there.
And I don't think any other mayor is going to be as colourful as that.
No. Whether it's good or bad publicity or coverage or whatever, he's getting a lot of people looking at their state and their policies and stuff. So that's a good thing as well.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what's this guy doing? And then they start to research it. It's word of mouth for the country, for the province or state or whatever.
Yeah, in a way, it's like
city.
it's like they can say, "Don't do crack, kids. Just look at what's happening to our mayor."
Yep.
Like it's kind of in a way it's positive.
And then if you're on crack, you can rebuild yourself and keep running.
Yeah, and you're like, well, you know what? Like, I may be a crack addict now, but I could be mayor someday.
But check this out. Yeah.
You know, there's positive ways to it.
There's still hope.
Yeah.
Anyone that's watching this from a Starbucks, because that's where all the crack smokers go.
Can make sure my phone's on silent.
So that's Rob Ford. We will keep an eye on him and bring...
Keep you appraised.
Yeah. As that unfolds. Do you know when the election is?
October, I think, off the top of my head.
Alright. I'd vote for him. If we could proxy a vote.
I probably would for a laugh, too. You know who else I'd vote for, actually, before we move on? Anthony Weiner. I don't really mind about all that thing. Do you know Anthony Weiner?
Everything about his wiener.
Yeah, he posted pictures of his penis on the internet. And one thing that was funny...
So it was meant to be a private message, and then he put it on Twitter or something?
That was the initial one. Again, that was the initial one. This is about Anthony Weiner. So look, I'll cover the story, and then I'll explain why I'd vote for him, because I've got quite a lot of negative things to say about him before going to why I wouldn't mind voting for him.
I don't know too much, so I'll listen.
So the first one is back in 2010 or so. As you say, he tweeted, he was like doing a back and forth with some chick who liked him, because he's like a progressive politician, so like he's got like a bit of a fan base. And they started going back and forth with kind of lewd messages, and eventually he tweeted a picture of his penis to her, but he accidentally made it a public tweet, and then it was completely taken down, and all the media was like, "What just happened then?" And he tried to cover it up. Oh, my computer was hacked, and then a couple of days later, it was like, "Yeah, okay," he cried and he quit. And then he went away for a while, just did some private work, and then he came back to run for public office again.
Right.
Saying like he was running for mayor, like, I'm sorry. And there's one thing I always thought, like, at that time I thought he deserved a second chance, but when he was doing his ads or whatever, and like doing the politician thing of walking up to the camera of like, I believe that we can, shape up the economy and blah blah blah. Every time the ad ended, I just couldn't help but just imagining him going, "I'm Anthony Weiner, and I'm sorry for posting a picture of my penis on the internet." Like, you always had it in the back of your head.
Yep.
Anyway, so he starts running for mayor, and he was actually leading in the polls. As you said, people like to forgive people, and broadly speaking, he actually had a pretty strong track record before that. But then it came out that after he resigned from Congress, he went and did it again.
Really?
Like, not after he started running for mayor,
right,
but he did actually keep, like, he's got like a sex addiction kind of thing.
So he did it again, like, publicly?
Not publicly, privately, but he was sending pictures of his genitals out, to another girl. And so that came out, and he came out and was kind of like, "Yeah, we were bracing for this. My wife knew about it. We have stopped. We've gone to couples counselling, but I did relapse after the thing. But it just wasn't enough. People were just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
You did it again.
Is it illegal?
Oh, no, it's not illegal. It's just unbecoming of a public servant.
So it's enough to lose trust, but not for him to get, like...
It's like the Bill Clinton thing. Bill Clinton...
That's illegal. Adultery's illegal, isn't it?
No.
Really?
Of course not.
I've got to get onto that.
I don't think adultery is illegal anywhere except for, like,
really?
The Middle East. Yeah, it's in some parts of the Middle East.
Then why is it a factor if, like, you're getting a divorce or something, and then that's a factor, then it changes the laws and things? That makes it illegal? Or that makes it criminalized?
Oh, no, it's not against the law. It's just like, if you're getting divorced, they can use it against you. They can say, he's the reason that we're breaking up, therefore it should be half of his assets that I get and not the other way around. Yeah,
so if it changes the course of the proceedings, then it has to be an illegal thing, right?
No, it's not illegal. It reflects poorly on your part of the marriage, so you're to blame for the marriage.
Okay, it's like a character thing.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it affects the alimony that you have to pay or whatever. Or it can. I mean, the judge could take into consideration and go like, well, the other one was clearly hotter, so, I would have cheated too. I'm sure a judge wouldn't say that. I'm making a joke.
They wouldn't say
that.
But,
it's the judge's discretion.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, like with Clinton, for instance, he didn't get impeached because to get impeached, do you do something illegal?
Yep.
So
he lied under oath.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
That was why he... And with Anthony Weiner, it was just like, no one was saying he did anything illegal, but he lost a lot of public trust.
Yep.
Anyway,
So Rob Ford, they're like, "Do you smoke crack?" He's like, "Yeah."
Well, yeah, at least you got to give him that, right? Yeah, he actually going like, okay, I smoke crack, I want my jungle sneakers.
What are you gonna do?
Kind of thing. But anyway, so yeah, with the Anthony Weiner thing, I totally understand anyone who holds it against him. For me personally, just because as a public person, he was stupid enough to do it again.
Yep.
It's like, okay, on that, looking at it through that lens,
Yep.
I wouldn't vote for him because I wouldn't want someone that dumb running the city.
Agree.
Okay, then though, look, on moral grounds, I don't care, really, honestly. Yep. If it gets your rocks off, a bunch of strange things get a lot of people's rocks off. It doesn't make them a bad person. So I don't really care, actually, about the acts themselves.
Yep, I agree.
And, you know, aside from that stupidity, he has kind of shown himself to be a good lawmaker or whatever in the past. He was a very effective congressman. So to that extent, I kind of can see why I would vote for him. It's kind of that coupled with the fact that I think some of the outrage was overblown for moral reasons. It's not on principle I'd vote for him, just because I think that some people are making too big of a deal out of the action themselves.
So is he back running again? Or?
No, he's gone, but I mean, I think he might end up like hosting a cable show or something. And, and maybe he will run for office like in another 5. You need to give it a lot of time, I think. Maybe he could run again in another 5 years or something for something.
Is he on Twitter? He's on Twitter, right?
Yeah, he is.
Let's not reach out to him in case.
Well, I've already said.
What if we get a response from him that we don't?
I've already said good things about him.
I'm just playing around.
Okay, all
right.
Probably talked too long about that.
No, we got plenty of time. We got 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right. So it's good. It's good that I keep dragging it on.
It is.
But maybe he has something else to say about it.
Well, the thing is, like, so if you trace back origins of family names, Taylors used to be Taylors, and you know, Masons used to do the masonry and stuff. So his name's Weiner. Like, he's just.
I mean, that's it's almost cliche to point that out, but that is an incredibly unfortunate name for the circumstances. I mean, it's an unfortunate name generally, but after that.
But maybe that's like, he's like, should I do it or not? He's like, well, my name's Weiner. Send.
It's in the genes.
Or it's not in the genes.
He's probably named after. He's probably named after sausages, though, right? Because they're like Weiner sausages or whatever. Like, it's probably like his family used to make sausages.
I'm pretty sure Weiner is a slang term. It's not a anatomic medical term.
No, but when I said sausages, I meant actual like
Weiner
pieces
sausages.
of meat.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
not.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's go with he comes from a long line of butchers.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Could be.
What else has been going on in the news?
Well, I don't really have much of a segue from there, but you want to talk about some gambling related thing, right?
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck. Our
Don't click your pin too much, by the way. It'll get picked up by the microphone.
Good call.
Don't mean to scold you on the show, but
Ben Affleck, our future Batman.
Yeah, which I'll talk about later.
Has been pulled up in Las Vegas for card counting in blackjack. Banned from the casino, from a few casinos, and he's not allowed to play blackjack anymore. So it goes to show Ben Affleck is like, you have to be reasonably smart or clever to card count. But I think it's probably something that he learnt in one of his roles doing his acting thing. He's brought it to the real world, and now they're like, Ben Affleck,
has he ever done a card? Because Matt Damon, his buddy, did Rounders, but I don't think Ben Affleck's ever done a card-related role.
Don't know.
But he is a very clever guy. I mean, he's kind of, his intelligence is a bit underrated. I think most people know he's intelligent, even people who can't just Ben Affleck. If you ever watch his interviews or whatever, he is very well kind of read.
Yep.
But was that all you wanted to say about the card counting?
Well, that's what I saw in the news. I have a few opinions, but is there anything out of that?
Well, we've got to move on to the Batman thing just to kind of...
Yeah, so he will be the next Batman.
Well, yeah, I want to say, like, this is not really topical because it was announced, like, quite a while ago when there was the big firestorm, but we weren't on air then, so, you know, we have to kind of go back. Man, so many memes about that, like, what a terrible choice. What's wrong with Ben Affleck as Batman? Like, first of all, a lot of people, there's this kind of meme again, like, with him being a bad actor. He's not a great actor. Like, he's not like a thespian or whatever. Like, I totally acknowledge that, but... if you look at his films, he's got, like, plenty of presence, and, you know, he can pull off an emotional scene. He's
different characters.
Yeah, perfectly passable. Yeah, he's got, like, a bit of a range. Not a huge range, but a bit of a range. And I think it's just that, I think he's unfortunately handsome, in the sense that he's not handsome like the way Brad Pitt is, or Ryan Gosling. Ben Affleck has a kind of handsomeness that's very generic, very, like, here is a leading man.
Yep.
And I think that makes people kind of think, he's just
the default guy.
Yeah, just a default face guy, That's one part of it. And then the other part is that in the late 90s, early 2000s, he made a couple of really bad decisions with roles. So he was in some terrible clunker movies like Geely and Reindeer Games and stuff like that. But that was more the material, not really him as an actor.
Yep.
So that's the first part. Well, it was two things. The other thing is, people get all pissed off about the Batman thing because Batman's like a really good character. But you know what? Not a difficult character. I don't think you need to be that great of an actor to pull him off. Like, Christian Bale is a great actor, but it's just incidental he got Batman. Didn't really take a lot. He just went, and then, what's Bruce Wayne is just like a kind of charming, social kind of businessman. Like, it's a dark character, but it's not a complex character.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because Bruce Wayne is meant to be like the default guy that people can relate to, and then he becomes a superhero.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even a superhero, but he becomes a crusader or whatever.
So what do you think about Batman? Like, Ben Affleck makes the perfect Bruce Wayne.
True.
Even if you don't like him.
True.
Kind of perfect profile.
But I guess where the backlash comes from is Christian Bale was, like, you could tell he has that streak of him where he's like the badass guy, like American Psycho, like things like this, where he's like switches into another part of his character and then goes back. Like, so he was kind of tried and tested to be Batman. Mm-hmm. Whereas Ben Affleck is like, well, people are doubting him because they don't think it's going to work because there's no proven track record.
Again, I think there is a proven track record for that kind of role. Cause again,
where's he been like a badass, like, the aggressor, like Batman?
Look, I don't know. I mean, I think that Runner movie, which I haven't seen, but from the trailer it looked like that kind of character.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but okay.
I guess kind of in Dogma, but he's more of like a philosophical badass, I guess, in Dogma. Again, like, put it this way. I think that Christian Bale is certainly a better actor. That's hardly an insult. I mean, I think Christian Bale is one of the better actors working now.
Yep.
But I think that Ben Affleck could be equally good or almost as equally good as a Batman. Because again, to repeat myself, it's not a complicated character, it's just a dark character. I don't think you have to have that much. You just need to be able to be charming and brooding.
But
if you can do those two things.
The origin of Batman was the dark story of it, and then it got into like the light stuff and the funny stuff, and then it's gone back to, and then it went like Hollywood, and now it's gone back to dark again. So who's to say they're not going to do like another light Batman or a dull Batman?
Well, it's a sequel to Superman Returns, so whatever. Not Superman Returns. What was the last Superman?
Batman Begins.
No. What was the last Superman? Man of Steel.
Okay.
With Russell Crowe and everything.
So Batman is a sequel of Superman.
It's going to be Batman and Superman, or Batman
really?
and Superman. That's what the movie's going to be.
And who's Superman? Same dude?
I assume so, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought it was a Batman movie. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a Batman and a Superman movie.
So if you got Batman and then you got Superman, it can't be like a totally dark story, because Superman isn't a dark character.
Yeah, Superman's more of like, Metropolis or whatever.
Yeah, so maybe they'll meet in the middle somewhere and just have like a Batman which is suited for Ben Affleck. Who knows?
That's actually one thing we haven't even addressed. It's probably going to be a shitty movie anyway, Ben Affleck or no. I mean, let's face it, it's a pretty lazy premise.
Yeah. Batman and Superman have been together, like the cartoon movies and stuff.
In cartoons, it's fine. Live action, I don't know, it's a stretch.
It will be a stretch, yeah.
I need to really suspend my disbelief.
Unless they have the story run for either Superman and then Batman comes in and out, or it runs for Batman and Superman comes in and out. I don't think they can intertwine two main characters for an hour and a half. I want to see him do it. Let's see what happens. Who's the best Batman ever, in your opinion?
Best
so far.
Batman ever live action?
Yep.
Best Christian Bale?
Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't give it to Keaton or anything.
Val Kilmer did a top-notch job.
I thought... You see, when we were in the car... By the way, if you're planning on travelling from King's Cross to St. Peters, apparently it takes an hour and a half.
Make sure you got GPS.
It's apparently a long drive. You said something about Val Kilmer, I think, kind of sarcastically in the car, but he was actually decent.
No, what I'm saying is, George
Clooney was the terrible one.
Yeah, but no offense, like I don't mean this as anything but nice to him, but he's kind of washed up now. Whereas in his day, he was like, "I'm Batman," and now he's like, "Oh, I'm Val Kilmer."
Yeah,
which kind of sucks.
You know what he was in relatively recently though? Like 2004, so actually 10 years ago, but it was still after he was washed up. Maybe not 2004, maybe 5 or 6 or something. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
That's great.
Okay.
That's a great movie with Val Kilmer in it.
Okay.
after he's washed up, and it's still really good. He does a good job.
I think it all went downhill when he played Jim Morrison in The Doors. You see that movie?
No, I've never been a big Doors fan, so I never checked it out.
So I think he got himself in the mind state of like Jim Morrison, and then from there he just couldn't snap out of it. Unfortunate, but Val Kilmer I would rate up there. His on-screen performance as Batman is quite well suited. There was someone in the middle as well. Keaton.
No, he wasn't in the middle. He was the first movie one.
Second movie after West.
Oh yeah, like the first modern movie, the first like Tim Burton movie, and they kind of rebooted it and made it. And it's kind of funny because that was
Prince all over that. That was a fucking movie as well.
That was notable because they made it dark. Like, you know, they made it dark as opposed to the movie ones with the campy. And then the Christopher Nolan ones came out and it was like, sure, you don't even know the meaning of dark.
Yep.
It made the Tim Burton ones actually look cartoonish in comparison.
That's what Tim Burton does. He has dark overtones, but he has funny kind of light scripts.
Definitely, yeah. Tim Burton, he's another kind of guy who hasn't made anything truly decent for a while.
A bunch of stuff with Johnny Depp, I think.
Yeah, but most of those are mediocre.
Yep.
In fact, Johnny Depp, that's one guy I'm getting kind of sick of.
Yep.
I know it's unpopular to say because Johnny Depp's...
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it's always like, look at the new crazy character I'm doing. It's like, I get it.
Yep. It's really all the same characters, it's a different costume.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, so we got a Jack Sparrow and then like Willy Wonka was pushing it and then you're Toto. Yeah.
He has a new movie where he's a normal guy. So I think he's kind of trying to break out of that.
Yeah, and that was a bomb too. He's losing some of his box office clout.
Johnny Depp, get your costume back on. We want to see that old character of yours.
Or just do a decent film where you're, do a film where you're not a crazy character and the movie isn't shit. I don't know if the movie's shit though. I haven't looked at reviews. Should I Rotten Tomatoes that shit?
Johnny Depp is announced he's getting married to a 22-year-old lesbian.
She used to be a lesbian, did she? I don't know about that part.
But she might still be.
She's the girl in... we can't both go to a computer. Come on, the audience.
So he's married to... he's getting married to a lady called Amber Heard.
She's the chick from Pineapple Express. Good taste, Johnny Depp. Good choice.
Okay, she's not a lesbian, but she used to consider herself as maybe one or something.
The movie's called Transcendence.
It just made headlines.
The movie's called Transcendence and it's got 20%.
20%?
On Rotten Tomatoes. That's rough. The funny thing is, Johnny Depp is he's 50, right? 50
At least, yeah.
Something. But he gets away with marrying a 22-year-old because he's Johnny fucking Depp. If another less handsome
50
actor
exactly.
Did that,
Yep.
50 exactly. If another actor married a girl less than half his age.
Oh, speaking
and
of,
he wasn't like a really handsome actor. Like if it was Paul McCartney or something.
Can I say something exactly on that vein? You know the Olsen twins from Full House fame.
Oh, she's dating.
You see that?
Yeah.
They're engaged now.
It's gross, isn't it? It looks weird.
This dude, he's like...
Just goes to show, man, though, if you've got game.
Well, he doesn't have game. He's got money. He's like a banker dude.
But she doesn't need money. Dude, they're like an empire.
She's got more than him, but I think it's just the fact that it's like, well, he's not marrying me for my money. Like, I'll tie this one up. Yeah, but this dude who looks like he's about 70. Google it, you'll see it.
And he's not that handsome either. Like, he's not handsome, period, really. What do you make of him? There's
a really awkward photo, which I'm trying to find, which is kind of useless because you can't see it. Yeah.
I think I've seen it today.
He's like holding her.
Yeah.
How awkward is that photo? She's like, get me out of this.
Because it's Sarkozy's brother, right?
I'm not sure who that is.
Sarkozy, former Prime Minister of France.
Really?
Yeah, I think it might be that
one.
Is it that one?
No. This one. Look at this. Come on.
Oh, yeah,
That's not cool. And she actually...
By the way, we do this every week. We shouldn't talk about stuff that they can't see.
I'll describe it to you. There's a photo of... is it Mary Kate or is it Ashley?
I don't know.
Whoever the Olsen is. And this dude. And the dude looks like he's like... 67-year-old dad, and she looks exactly like she did on the Full House show. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, it's similar.
It's just the awkwardest photo. Yes. So that's happening. She's about half his size as well.
Yeah. Didn't one of them dated Heath Ledger when he died?
One of them, I think it was a dude.
What?
Oh, one of the Olsen twins.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that pushed him over the edge?
No. I think one of the Olsen twins actually discovered him in the hotel or something.
Really?
I don't know if that's true. I remember hearing something kind of like that.
How do you spell ledger?
Ledger.
Okay, Mary Kate had a connection to his death. She killed him. That's not funny or necessary, but okay.
And kind of liable.
Yeah, I'll just set the record straight. She didn't kill him. But on that as well,
she didn't literally kill him. Can we segue, or do you want to say something else?
Well, let me say this real quick, but keep that segue. Right. Because I found this interesting, and I'm sure you will as well. Kurt Cobain's...
the note.
Yeah, they found there's a few new photos of his death scene, which has been leaked or whatever, and he's not a suicide note, but the last note that he wrote, which is something to do about Courtney Love, and people think that Courtney Love wrote the letter and then planted it to the media because now she's coming out with an album or a song called Wedding, and then the note's all about him asking her to marry him.
Yeah, like your lawfully shredded wife, and even though she siphons your money for coke or something like that.
Yeah.
No, she's openly said that she wrote it.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean,
that's not cool.
Well, no, I mean, like at the time, no, not that she planted it, but that she wrote it and gave it to Kurt Cobain, and their biographer Charles R. Cross. They used to write kind of sarcastic notes like that to each other all the time. Yeah. It's nothing. It's no big deal. Because when it initially came out, do you know there's conspiracy theories that she killed him?
Yep.
So when that initially came out, it was kind of fodder for conspiracy theorists because they're like, see, he did hate the bitch. They were like, like she was on his mind at the time, and they were feuding, and then she came and shot him in the head or something.
Yep.
But no, she's saying no. I wrote that to Kurt. I gave him the note. He added his wallet.
But the thing as well is the note was folded in half, and they only released the top half of it, which looked like it was like worse than it was. But then when you unfold it and you saw like the concluding lines, it's like, oh well, there's nothing but like a funny little note between them. So I
didn't know there was more than that.
Yeah, did you see like there's only the top half was like halfway through a sentence got cut off.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, or whatever, they released the second half of it.
Okay.
With, like if police or whatever have the photo, they don't just like give little puzzles out. They're just like, this is what we found, done.
Like the Riddler.
So it's an ever evolving thing where I just think Courtney Love is just for whatever reason using that kind of momentum for her gain.
Possibly. I don't know if she was involved with the leaking. I don't know.
Anyway.
No comment.
That's what it is. And a few photos from the scene as well, which nothing new. So you had an interesting segue, which I...
Stick on. And fair enough.
Sorry about
that. That's alright.
Literally.
So you didn't literally step on my segue.
Or did I?
Yeah. So, I just talking to Kevin on a 2-hour car ride here about, literally 2-hour car, I'm going to stop saying that. Like, just asking him what he thought of literally as an enhancer, So a lot of people say, like, it's literally the hottest day ever, and, like, if you look at the records, it's not. It's figuratively the hottest day ever. Yep. Funny enough, like, it's very rare that a word is misused, not only just misused, but actually used as the exact opposite of what it is, which kind of is the thing that really annoys me. I was saying that kind of, it irritates me that it's been changed like that, because there's that argument that, language is an evolving thing, and if a word is used in a certain way, then that does actually become the definition.
Exactly.
But the problem with literally is there's no other word that can serve what literally does. There's no other word for what I'm saying is an exact representation of what happened. So when you turn literally into figuratively, or an enhancer or whatever,
then a whole meaning and a whole word has gone off the map.
There's actually an article on the internet.
Maybe like certainly. This is certainly the hottest day today.
No, not really. No. Because you're saying it definitely is, but you're not saying that, like, the words I'm using to describe it could be interpreted as a figure of speech, but they are not. So the example I gave you is laughed out of court. If I say it was literally laughed out of court, that would mean that everyone in the jury actually laughed at,
And then,
Yeah, whereas I could, if I just said he was laughed out of court, I didn't say literally, then what I mean is, like, figuratively, it was dismissed. And
so then the argument is that where you used to say the word literally, you just drop it off now, and that means exactly the same thing. So instead of saying this is literally the hottest day today, you just say this is the hottest day.
It would be
and it means the same thing as if you had that word in there.
Yeah.
Interesting
So
one.
made the word redundant.
The main leading dictionary, which Oxford or Webster or whatever, changed the meaning in there.
Well, they added it.
Well, they changed it.
They had like A to be exact, B to be figurative.
Did they add it?
Well, at least that's what Google says. Like, if you look at Google, if you Google it, Google says literal, I to be exact, or B to be figurative, essentially to kind of
What a word!
Yeah.
It means like everything on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, it means one thing, and it means the exact opposite of that thing as well.
What a great word! And also, you could use it or not use it. It
not
means
a
the
great
same
word
thing.
anymore. Now it's an annoying word because it's redundant.
Yeah. But so the dictionaries, the reason why they added or whatever the definition was that it's not their job to say this is the word, this is what it means. This is the word, and this is what the society has decided it means. So they reflect that rather than tell them what it means.
Yeah, and I mean, as is their want, but it's still annoying that the kind of English is an evolving language crowd won on that front. Like, I don't mind that English is an evolving language argument in general, but it's like 4 words, like, literally, no, we should keep that one. Like,
I agree. For this point, if you'd written something 2 years ago and used that word, and then it's been stocked, someone else reads it 5 years from now, and they're like, let's see what this means. This means this word means this. Then it changes what you wrote. If they look at the meaning of each word in the sentence,
right.
Then it's different than what the author had intended.
Like Shakespeare.
So stop changing. Stop changing your fucking words.
Last week. There's actually an article kind of along similar lines by, do you know Maddox? He's kind of like an internet celebrity, gained prominence in the 90s, 2000s.
I know the name, maybe more than that.
His biggest claim to fame is that he does like a critique of children's artwork. It's like a quick article that like got viral where he just goes, "This is shit."
Yeah, right.
Like that's not a dog. F.
Right.
Simple concept kind of took off, but I still check his website every now and again, and he's got an article from a few years ago about the word epic. That he hates what came to the word epic on the internet. Like, oh, epic fail.
Yep.
Oh, such an epic burger I'm having. And he's like, look, epic means something absolutely daunting in scale, like the ocean or the galaxy / universe, outer space, or it can be a very large, expansive narrative of heroism and stuff.
So it's all around like the gargantuan statue.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, that kind of thing. And he's like, look, no other word serves what epic does.
Yep.
So when you turn it into something you give to a burger, then you ruin the word. You're ruining a good word.
Yep.
By changing the meaning. Very similar kind of argument.
It is, but it's the culture where it's not a bad thing that I'm saying, but where people can spin the ideas themselves as a society or as a network or community, they can come up with their own explanation for what this word is, and then people adopt that based on them. It's quite different than the days where dictionaries were like the Bible of like language. Mm-hmm. Where now it's a reflection of what the people think. It's a reflection of the collective.
Sure.
So I think it's flipped around. I think it's only a good thing.
Again, I wouldn't say it's only a good thing because things that happen literally. But again, I understand it is the way it is. I mean, language is a living document, and there's nothing I can do about that. Like if one of my words that I like gets ruined, then it happens.
But no one's stopping you from using that word in that sense that you want to. There's slang words about everything.
Yeah, but I'll be misunderstood.
Well, that's how it is. And then you lead an uprise. Maybe we can get at some kind of protest or a petition.
Yeah,
not to change the word, but just for people to keep using it.
Something like that. I don't know. Start a Twitter campaign to our 10 followers.
You know what else I want to campaign? Get Pluto back instated as a planet.
Why did it get chucked again? It was just too small, or it didn't have like a moon going around it, or it wasn't
I don't know.
to a sun or something?
I don't know the exact things, but there's like 8 or 9 boxes I need to tick, and like one of them was like, so they're like, no, scrap the whole thing. You're not a planet. And Pluto's like, come on.
It's still like a really good moon.
It's a planet.
But hey, look, instead of being a small planet, now it's a gigantic rock.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, it got an upgrade, because it's like a bigger fish in a smaller pond now.
Rob Ford knows about gigantic rocks.
It's not a small pond, it's a bigger fish in a bigger pond.
Small fish in a big pond.
No, it was a small fish in a big pond before. Well,
No,
no, but it wouldn't be a small pond because there's only a finite amount of planets. There's a relatively limited amount of planets, at least in our particular galaxy. But there's shitloads of moons or rocks. But out of all the rocks and moons and shit, it's the biggest one. What is it?
It's a cartoon character created by Walt Disney.
Thank you, Google.
It's a dwarf planet.
Oh, that's mean. I thought it was like a really important moon or a really important rock, but now it's actually just a really... Oh, okay, that is mean.
Yep.
Could we potentially live on Pluto?
I would in a second. You can't... It's so far out, there's like freezing temperatures.
Right, so it's not like Mars where it's doable.
No.
Right.
You couldn't live on Mars.
Is there... Oh, no, they reckon we can.
Not
Or
without...
like it's within shooting distance, not yet.
Yeah, but they'll need to adapt the planet before you could... Or like you'd have to have spacesuits or whatever. There's
Oh, of course, yeah.
there are 2 planets that we know of that we could live in. It almost mimics Australia, Earth.
Oh, okay, so they're
They're not planets, but
they're ready
they're
to
bodies.
go.
Yep.
But they're out there though. They're like in a different galaxy, or
It's so far that you couldn't possibly travel there and live.
how many light years do you reckon?
Don't know.
We shouldn't resort to the computer too much because it
But
cuts us from the audience.
but it's there more than definitely not Pluto, but more than Mars. There are other planets which we should look to inhabit.
Is there any other planet in our Milky Way that is as good as Mars?
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, I mean obviously excluding that
No,
because like Saturn's just gas, isn't it, or something? Like some of them aren't even. You can't walk on them.
don't know. I don't think you can live anywhere except for Mars with adaptations.
Right.
Which they're planning on sending people up to Mars like 5 to 6 years from now.
When they're saying that you can't come back, that
Yep.
was going to be right.
But that's not even
And
a
they've got
thing.
a lot of sign-ups for it too.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they're saying, why would you go there if you can't come back? There's 2 arguments. The first, people want to go there because they're going to film like a TV series or whatever, Mars Shore or whatever. But the thing that people forget is you get sent over there, then you have kids there, and your kids grow up there. Who cares if you come back or not? You die on Earth, you die on Mars. Do you want?
Wouldn't your kids be like, Dad, fuck you for having us here?
No,
Couldn't you have us back on Earth with people?
Oh, Earth? Where'd it go?
We don't need the...
And, like, Earth's fucking blown up, and then you fucking live your life with a new family on a new planet.
Right.
People don't think about this. NASA, get at us.
Maybe for good reason. Yeah. Mars.
There definitely needs to be some action on moving people off the planet somewhere else.
So we can go and pollute another one once this one just gets too...
Well, then you get the people who potentially wouldn't put the planet at risk.
You know, they need to invent long-distance teleportation first. Because like, with a ship, we're never going to be able to get a ship that can go fast enough to carry us to, like... Because it'll take years, even going at the speed of light, to get to some of these faraway places. So we need to send, like, a person or a couple of generations of people to man that ship. Then we get them to the other planet. Then they build a teleportation doorway, and then we can do it quickly.
Yep.
Because we're not going in a ship anymore. We're just getting buzzed out there.
Well, that's what you could do to inhabit any planet. You'd go somewhere, make a space route, which goes from Earth to the planet. Not only could you pass people through, but the oxygen will pass through.
Right.
So then you just like put a filter there, get all the good air, put it on another planet, put it like within a spherical dome.
Do you want to patent it?
Yeah.
Hey, can we talk about patents really quickly?
Yeah.
Because that's something that I've never... we've got that thing which we'll cover later on, the Twitter outreach, where we get a famous person to retweet us, or we asked them to, we haven't succeeded yet. More on that later. In exchange for us following them and also like adopting an opinion or whatever.
Yep.
I'm going to reach out and say, I reckon we should actually follow them out of solidarity, and we won't demand a retweet for it. Adam Carolla.
Okay.
So this is a podcasting solidarity thing. What's been going on here? This is why patents remind me of it. There are people who just patent broad things, so as that like one day when an innovator actually executes and does it,
They get the cut.
they can come in and go, "Hey, I patented that."
Yep.
But they don't do any groundwork, and like it can be something really ridiculous, like just
Bill Gates had a ridiculous one.
What was it?
He painted when people, I think we talked about this, when people have the wearable cameras. So he painted that if you're at an ATM and a camera comes close, like the screen blurs itself or whatever, so you can't get filmed.
Yeah. I don't think it was on the show. We talked about it. Yeah.
So Bill Gates has put that in place so that when someone comes out with something else of a similar technology, he's like, hey, my idea, where's my cut?
Right.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's right. But yeah, good example. But, okay, this is ridiculous though. So these guys out in, I think, Texas, they patented, I don't know the exact wording, but it's something along the lines of releasing things in a serial form online as like an audio down, like basically podcasts.
Right.
Well, what we do essentially, they're only targeting Adam Carolla because like he's got a network and he's making a fair amount of money.
So they're saying anything that's
essentially
on a
podcasting.
cycle.
They're saying essentially the definition is what podcasting is. So they're saying basically we patent podcasting.
Wow. Good on them, because no one thought of doing that before them.
Well, actually, though, there was... that's one thing Adam Carolla's pointed out, is that the first thing on the internet that was an audio download that was like more than an episode, so it was like a regular thing, happened in like the 90s or whatever, when the internet just kind of first started.
Yep.
And that was before they patented it, so... I mean, it's... Yeah, so frivolous. But it still cost him like $1 million to defend himself in court.
Yeah.
And so, like, what they hope is that like people will just settle out of court, but he's like, no... It's the principle.
Yeah, good.
If I pay them, then like I'm president, they can go after all the other podcasters.
Yep.
So I'm going to set a precedent that's bullshit. Yeah.
I like Adam Carolla.
I do too. Yeah, I think he's a decent guy.
Admittedly, I only know him from the Man Show, the original Man Show, but I like his character.
Yeah,
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to say that.
I just know him from like Do's and Dads, just kind of shows up at certain places. I've never really watched a lot of the Man Show.
Right.
You know, Joe Rogan, another person I'm a fan of. Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope hosted the Man Show.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, they were commissioned to death and, like, it just sucks.
Yep.
But, man, if you told me there was a show called The Man Show and it was hosted by Doug Stanhope and Joe Rogan, that sounds so good on its face. Like, that sounds like the best show ever, and apparently it was awful.
Yeah, because the thing happens where you set up a show, you set up a fan base for it, you set up the structure of the show, and then you put somebody else in there. But whereas you made the whole show for the people who were in there in the first place. You can slot other people in, it doesn't work. You need to change the format for those new people. Or it just falls flat on its face. You've seen it over and over again.
Jimmy Kimmel was the other one, wasn't it?
With Carolla, yeah.
With Carolla. That's a good team.
Yep.
Those are two talented people.
And that was where, like, their facing primetime that was where they first got their start.
Mm-hmm. Do you reckon, out of all late night hosts, who's your favourite?
At the moment, Fallon. I'm loving Fallon.
Right.
But I'll always prioritise Letterman when they overlap.
Yeah, right.
Just for, like, respect. But I think Fallon is the up-and-coming.
He's suited to the medium, isn't he?
Yep, absolutely.
It's kind of like that. He's like... He's not edgy or anything. He's kind of like a likable.
And you can tell he so much wants to be there.
Yeah. Like, yeah, and that's what you need for that kind of gig. It's kind of like just a likable everyman, all rounder.
Yep.
You know. Yeah.
Especially for like when you get into like the late shows, like when Conan did it and Ferguson, and then they'll just be so like self-loathing and like you don't want that to keep you awake at night. You need someone with energy who's like, this is happening, like he does his song, like Fallon does his songs and his jokes and stuff. It keeps people awake and alert.
Here's a Twitter campaign that I want to jump on. Bill Burr was kind of touting it, so I saw it on my feed. Late Norm. Hashtag late Norm. Norm MacDonald for the Late Late Show.
Oh, right.
To replace Ferguson.
Yeah.
That seems like a good call. Because he, like, again, like he's too weird to be like the main one, but the follow-up act, that'd be perfect. Norm MacDonald.
I'm gonna put my what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Money on.
I predict Bob Saget will be the host of.
Not bad. Not a bad choice.
Because him and Ferguson are good together. He's familiar with the studio and the people who do the production and stuff.
Ferguson are good together. He's made quite a few appearances on Ferguson.
He's been there a few times, but like off camera as well.
Right.
And he's totally suited. If Ferguson has that audience who like edgy, like...
Well, see, the thing about, like, Fallon, he's not even that funny. Like, he was annoying when he wasn't saying that.
Yep.
Like, not only is it great that he's on the Late Show, or the Tonight Show, because he's well suited to it, it's also great that he's on the Tonight Show because it's taken him away from other comedy. He was ruining it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a double win. I know it's a backhanded compliment, but it's legitimately a compliment. Like, he is very good at the Tonight Show.
And the spot where he's in now, it's perfect for him. So everyone wins.
Yeah.
Bob Saget's a funny dude.
Yeah.
And it's just tying it into the Olsen twins. Mm-hmm. Who else was on that show? Full House. John Stamos.
Yeah.
little bit on him later on.
Yeah, a little bit of Stamos popping up.
And what about the dude? Was it Joey? The dude with the voices and the puppets? No, Joey was Stamos.
No, Joey was Jesse.
Yeah, Joey.
Was Stamos.
Joey was the dude with like
He was a comedian.
the wolf hair. Is he still a comedian?
Well, he was a comedian in the show. Like he played a comedian.
Yeah, you're right.
I
wonder what he's doing now.
Oh, I just remembered something. I can't remember the exact punchline, unfortunately. I'm not a Full House aficionado, but I just remembered something like on a Full House episode. Stand-up comedy, that's one of those things that's never, ever accurately represented in like fictional shows.
Yep.
I guess it's just you need to be a comedian to act as a comedian kind of thing.
Seinfeld?
Yeah, exactly. Like Seinfeld can kind of do like that. That's okay, like because he's actually a comedian.
Yep.
But they always fuck up in TV movies. I've never seen Punchline, that movie with Tom Hanks, but apparently like comedians look at that and go like, that would never go well in a club.
Yeah.
Like they're killing with this material, and it's like, if you walked up to the Comedy Cellar in New York and you said that shit, you would be murdered.
Yep.
There's this episode of Full House. I remember so long ago now. I would have seen it when I was like 8, so I'd not done comedy. But he starts dating this woman comedian, the Joey character.
Yep.
I assume his name was Joey.
Joey, it was. Dave Coulter.
Okay.
Is the actor.
So, he was dating, and like, then, like, they're like, oh, you know, come see one of our comedy shows. And then, like, the girlfriend gets up and basically makes a bunch of jokes, like, making fun of, like, the family.
Yep.
Thinking it would be in good spirit. And then they're all like, what was that about? Like,
yep.
You know. But, man, the jokes were so bad. It was like, oh, you know, we've got a couple of girls there, like little young girls, like I guess talking about the Olsen twins. The Olsen twins got kind of old in the show, right? They got like they're 12.
No.
Okay,
there was still mini.
There was
a middle one.
The middle one then.
DJ was the old one. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
It was like something in pantyhose or something. Like it was like a really stupid, like barely a joke.
Right.
And the audience is like, oh. It's like, yeah, whenever they depict comedy, stand-up comedy in a fictional movie or television show, it's always horrible. Except
I'll put out an exception there when they do Krusty the Clown in The Simpsons.
It's not really stand-up comedy.
No, but when he's like on stage, I picture that would be exactly how it would play off. He just says something ridiculous and they throw tomatoes at him.
And he goes, hey! I don't know, yeah, that probably would work, yeah.
And then his material's not working and he's like, hey, and he's got this thing like spins up and down.
Although that's the great one where like he does go and try and be a comedian, he turns into an edgy comedian. They actually kind of captured the essence because they were kind of parodying the Bill Hickses, the George Carlins. They were sort of satirizing that a little bit in the show because they had a bunch of like real comedians like Bobcat Goldthwait and stuff come on for that.
Yep.
And they were just kind of like, this stinks, and then he ends up going, well, you know, I don't care what you think. And everyone's like, oh, wow, this is actually really cutting edge now. And,
yep.
And then he gets sponsored by a car company. It's a great episode. And so he sells out again.
Yep.
Metal Sorry.
Can I say something real quick and then go to something else? My favourite comedian, Carrot Top. Love that dude.
Right.
I don't even care.
I think Carrot Top's good at what he does. I'm not gonna hold it against him.
He entertains me so much.
It's not my kind of thing, but he's good at what he does.
But just on The Simpsons, I was speaking to somebody and they brought this up, which I thought was really interesting. That it's in its 25th season now. The reason why it got...
It's literally as old as me to like the day.
Literally?
Really? Not to the day, but it's literally as old as me.
Really?
And like, when I say to the day, it's to the year. It premiered in 88.
Really?
I'm 25 now.
There you go.
Yeah, it's... Go on, sorry.
88 is when I came to Australia.
Oh.
There you go. Just a bit of trivia for those playing at home. Somebody made the remark, which I thought was interesting, that The Simpsons were always, it was about the chemistry within the family. So the story was Homer and Bart have this adventure, or Lisa and Maggie, this is where they first established this kind of character for those two being together and things like that. Whereas now The Simpsons, they've taken like a beating in their ratings. People are dropping off from watching it.
Well, it's just not as good anymore.
Well, this is the argument that I heard, that it's not because, it is because they're not, it's no longer about the chemistry or the family dynamic. It's about there's a new technology or a new something that's happening in the world. So let's make the show about this, and then we'll throw in the Simpsons characters into the story.
So they've become too topical and too...
Because they've done everything where it's like, there's no other
Yeah, I watched that. That's what South Park's good at. And the reason they're good at it is because they can do an event on the week that it happens.
Yep.
Whereas The Simpsons still has to be animated.
But it's always been like that. That's the thing.
Yeah, well...
Right from the start, it was always like
from like episode 4 or whatever.
It was like a social commentary or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas The Simpsons was about a family, and they just went on adventures based on the character chemistry.
And they might have some social commentary sliced in there, but that wouldn't be the point of it.
That wouldn't be the reason the episode was made.
I think that's a good... that's as good of a theory as any, other than just pure age, that it would have gone downhill. Because I saw like a World of Warcraft episode, just like what you're saying. It was pretty trash.
Yeah.
Again, South Park have a World of Warcraft episode, and it's excellent because it's like that's their forte. But
the thing is, you can't bring the age thing into it because they just get new writers. They rehash the writers all the time, so it's always fresh people coming up with the ideas. But it's the brief. But this episode has to be about this. Go. But there's a Lego episode of The Simpsons which has been announced. You've seen this?
No.
And this will be something great.
So they're going to change Lego characters?
Do you remember the episode where The Simpsons went into 3D?
No.
So they
probably haven't seen it.
They had a wardrobe or something. They moved the wardrobe and there was a portal. And they go into the portal, or Homer goes in the portal and becomes 3D.
Oh, was it a Halloween one?
Quite possibly. You know, I'm not a fan of those Halloween, the Treehouse horrors.
No, they're not my favourites.
I always skip them.
Oh, but there's some good ones.
There are some
like,
good ones.
You just killed Zombie Flanders. That was a zombie? That's one of the best lines of all Simpsons time.
But so this one was so that one there was the 2D and the Homer goes in 3D. It's like whoa, and then they've got like 3D effects.
Right.
But this one, it's a Lego movie, so it's like Lego pieces with the Simpsons faces on it, doing that thing.
Yeah.
But then every time Homer touches this board game or something that he bought for Lisa, he sees himself as a 2D character.
Right.
So then he like walks past a mirror and he sees the 2D character, the cartoon character that we're used to. And he's like, what's this? I look so weird, like I'm all flat and stuff.
Right.
It's a total mind trip.
Okay.
So when
It sounds a bit gimmicky to me, but
it is gimmicky, and it's I'm contradicting myself because they've played into Lego's big at the moment, so we'll run off that. But I think this episode is going to work.
Well, Simpsons is one of those ones that, like, I mean, we can diss it, but you do still sometimes get the good episode that pops up. Like, it does happen. In fact, there was one I watched a couple of years ago now, when I was at home for Christmas and I was watching Sky, and I don't know if you guys have Foxtel here, not Sky.
Both, but Sky's for sportsy.
But I'm sure there's a channel that always plays The Simpsons, right? Comedy channel or whatever. There's one with
Channel 10 free to wear.
Yeah, something like that. Like, and like there's a channel where The Simpsons is always on.
Yep.
Not literally always, but very, very often. And it was an episode that was making fun of Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent actually did his voice for it, which I was surprised by because they gave him quite a hard time. Like, I was surprised that Ted Nugent would participate in it.
He loves the heat.
He does. But they were making fun of the 2012 Republican presidential candidates and like the debates and everything.
Right.
So that must have been made super recently. I mean, I consider 2012 to be pretty damn recent. And it was very funny.
Yep.
It wasn't as good as like episodes from like the first 8 seasons or whatever.
Yep.
But it was good. Like, it was definitely like a laugh every couple of minutes type thing. It was good.
I still watch The Simpsons. There was an episode on 2 nights ago, which is the one where Homer becomes a pirate, so he starts pirating movies and then showing them to his neighborhood.
So that sounds relatively recent.
It was it's just aired in Australia, so it's like a month old or whatever. I love it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's not all bad.
But the ratings go down, whether or not like the diehard people like it or not. The ratings go down.
Well, South. I mean, I do think it's waned in quality, but South Park's another one that's got. Like, I used to say that South Park. So I reckon, like, in South Park's 3rd to 9th season, roughly, was literally the best TV show that has ever existed.
Okay.
Literally, in the actual meaning of that word, the literal meaning of that word,
The literal meaning of literal.
I'm gonna drop this gag. It's getting old. But then like say season 10 to 12 still great. After 12 and then so after say season 12 for that couple of years, I used to say, look, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still the funniest show currently on television.
Yep. Okay.
These days, though, I wouldn't even quite say that with South Park. I reckon Nathan For You, which is a new Comedy Central show, is probably funnier.
You put me on that, and I quite like it.
Yeah, like
It's not new though. Are they still making episodes?
Yeah, they'll have a new season this year. That season, I gave you the couple of episodes from last year. Yeah,
Nathan For You. If anyone's watching that's looking for something new, Nathan For You.
Nathan For You is great. Yeah, basically it's kind of like a parody of reality television. So the premise is that like he'll go to businesses and give them ideas to improve their business, and they're always kind of really silly ideas, and they'll actually go and execute them and do them with real people. So they do that. That's already kind of funny, but they also use a bunch of conventions to kind of parody the way that reality television programming is.
Yep.
It's very, very good. So South Park, I still like it, but I wouldn't even say it's the funniest show on television anymore. And quite frankly, because every single time Trey Parker and Matt Stone do something else, it's always great. So I'd kind of I would miss South Park if it was gone. But if they quit it, and then in like every couple of years we've got like an original movie from them, I'd probably prefer that situation.
Or why not have like a spin-off or another cartoon or something, like something else that's
regular. Yeah,
regular.
Could be another show. Yeah, totally. Just something. Yeah, a restart. I reckon it's just like it's gone a bit stale.
Speaking of restarts, if we were doing a normal show, this is the 1 hour mark. This is where we'd cut it off. But this is where we're gonna restart this and do another hour.
And the exact half,
exclusively for episode 10.
And at the exact halfway mark, probably a good time for a sponsor, but none this week.
The reason we don't have any sponsors this week is because we want to prove to the people out there who do their own shows and do all this editing and behind the scenes shit. This is 2 hours straight from start to end. We just press record and we go.
Yep, that's right.
We can do it, and trust me, if we can do it, anyone can do it, right?
Yeah. So that's why we don't have sponsors. It's our story and we're sticking to it.
Yep. For no other reason than we thought it was a good idea to bring you at one take.
And I think I've talked about South Park enough, so and TV enough. Did you want to say anything else about television?
A takeaway, Nathan For You, watch that, and also the Lego movie, if you're in the Lego episode, if you're into The Simpsons, look out for that as well, because that's going to be something huge.
Okay.
That's that.
Right. Now again, forget smooth segues. Do you just want to go on to the next subject? Google.
Yep.
Now, first of all, you used to say something about Google Now. I don't know what that was.
Yeah. So,
me on that.
Google Now, for those who don't know what Google Now is, it's basically, if you think about a news ticker, so you're basically going to get updated with news that's happening from either your browsing history on the internet or your location, or to a degree, and it's only in the infancy stage, but to a degree of lost my train of thought. But basically what it is I was driving on the freeway the other day. I got a Google Now announcement which was saying there's a crash on the freeway 30 minutes ahead. Either take the next detour and go around it, or be aware the delay's 40 minutes or whatever.
Right.
I didn't sign up for that. It just knew that I was on this road and I was traveling in this direction, and there's this.
Is Google Now just Google Live? Is it? Because maybe it is called Google Now. I just thought it was called Google Live. Google Live, what is that?
Same thing, yep.
Is this thing?
Yep.
Okay, right, cool.
So the technology is Google Now, which is when they're going to have the smartwatches, it's going to be based on that. So basically the things that pop up, which are tailored to your browsing needs or location or whatever, like I said before, will be brought either to your phone or to your watches or whatever. But how dope is that? Where it's just like, hey, we noticed you're going to be doing this. Check it out. This affects you.
Sweet. I've got my own.
So good.
I've got my own story with that. A couple of years ago, as you know, I flew to New Zealand. You may remember the show we linked up live. Always bringing it to you guys.
Great episode.
Yep. Anyway, so I'm at my home. I'm about ready to go. I bought the tickets, but I don't have a Qantas application. I didn't sign up for anything, and then it's just like, boop, hey, your flight's been delayed for an hour, so maybe don't leave the house. I'm like, sweet.
Yep.
Thanks. I had no application or anything for that.
Yep.
It even told me, leave the house at this time to arrive at the airport within the right time frame and all that shit.
Just because you'd browsed the page which was saying that you bought these tickets.
Yeah. I got all the info. And that goes to the privacy, because we talk about privacy sometimes. But look, if that's what technology companies like Google are mining our data for and storing to do stuff like that, go ahead.
Yep, totally.
I don't mind.
Totally.
Yeah, sweet.
Totally.
The other great thing is, let's say, an example, I had some fridge repair issues, that we needed to have dealt with, so I was, emailing my landlord about that, because they're responsible for the fridge in my particular situation. Now when I'm browsing the internet, same on IMDb, and they have, those side banner ads, it's Harvey Norman, fridge is on sale for da-da-da. like, I wasn't looking to buy a fridge, but it was cool that it picked up on that, and
Yeah.
as opposed to just having, like, ads for Viagra or something random, it was, like, ads that actually might pertain to what I'm in the market for.
Yep. I agree with that.
I have nothing against that. Nothing but positivity.
If it's done well, because I run those kind of ads and remarketing campaigns and stuff for my 9 to 5. So I know that it can be done well, but it can also be done in a way which is counterproductive. So, like your situation where you've say not your situation exactly, but let's say you've gone to Harvey Norman or whatever your local white goods reseller is, and you've bought a fridge. Then you don't want more fridge ads because you've already got a fridge.
Yeah, but there's no way of telling 100%. But it's just like, if you've seen them before, then...
But where you put your marketing dollars into saying, well, this is the best avenue for this, that's not the best avenue for this. You look at people who have put an old fridge on Gumtree, or people who have upgraded from an apartment to a house, places where people would need a new fridge.
Right.
Not, they have something to do with fridges, let's sell more fridges. Another example which I'll say is... recently, I put a bet on a soccer game. I'm not a big soccer fan, but there was one game where there was huge odds for one of the leading players, Ronaldo, who played for Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. So if he scored and if his team went through to the next qualifier, there was like a huge odd at stake. Right. So I'm like, sweet, I'll put money down on that. Now I'm getting updates every time Real Madrid has a game. I don't care about them.
That happened to me when I was I googled the David Ortiz.
Yep.
Because we were doing it for the show, and then it's like starts telling me like, this.
Now you're getting Red Sox results.
Yeah, like I'm like, I don't care, but you can opt out of that immediately. Like, I don't care about that, and then like, all right, sweet, no more, no more updates on that.
But I guess that is different because that's Google Now or Google Live or whatever it is, where it's a smart thing where it feeds back into your feed. Mm. But what I'm saying is where people actually spend marketing dollars to put ads for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Put it where it makes sense to put it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
It is very interesting, but just to get back on your point real quick, is that if it's used for the right, in the right context and it gets me the right information that I need, before I even ask the question, it tells me the right answer, I'm all for it. Mind my data. Do whatever you need to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
In the right hands. And
it's
Google the right people. Yep.
Now, do you want to move on to the... Well, okay, let's, before going into the thing that happened on Twitter, let's do Fiog solicits public figures for retweets, our ongoing segment. As I said last week, we're going to make this, we might make this a regular segment, so it won't necessarily happen every week because we don't always have a good candidate. Funnily enough, though, this week we do have a good candidate, so we will be doing it again, but let's round off what happened last week. So, last week we reached out to,
I don't know.
Shit. The swimmer dude who snorts coke.
Coke
swimmer.
Jeff
6000. Jeff Hugel. So we reached out to him saying, hey, look, we think what you did was a disgrace. You've broken the hearts of a lot of children who look up to you. But retweet us and we'll like you again, and we'll say that all your sponsors should take you back, and that you're just a victim of laws that shouldn't be in place in the meantime. Basically, reverse our decision on that.
Yep.
Mr. fucking Crackhead.
Yeah. Too busy. He's on a binge.
Yeah, right.
So he was also selling crack to school kids.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. Heard he killed a dog too.
Yep.
No,
it wasn't related.
Doing anything.
It was just why the hell not?
On it, because that's how he rolls.
So I guess that kind of answers if you retweeted this or not.
Yeah. These kind of things happen though when you're born from incest.
Yep. I think he's been in chlorine too long, and it's just his brain's just being bleached out.
Well, that plus being an incest baby.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it all.
What a jerk.
Yeah. What a jerk.
So yeah, we didn't get a retweet from him.
Now,
so this week,
someone else on Twitter who actively uses Twitter.
Yep.
I didn't notice Jeff Hugel had been kind of quiet the past month on Twitter, so maybe he's hadn't logged in. That doesn't mean we're going to take back any of the shit we just said about you. But someone who does use Twitter quite a lot and could use a lot of help from us, Mr. Mayor Rob Ford.
Yep.
We were talking about at the start of the show.
For sure.
I wouldn't hold it against a population for not wanting a mayor who smokes the pipe and gets drunk every second day. And
you don't want that to be the face of your town.
No.
Like a crackhead.
Bull rushing woman in Parliament. And
on purpose. Like, he spear tackled her.
Yeah.
for no reason, just because she like looked at him. He's like, ah.
It's not okay, and it's not becoming of someone who should be mirrored. It's not the kind of person I like to see in that kind of office.
No, not at all.
But I'll tell you what, after the show, Rob Ford, I'm going to tweet out to you with a link to this segment. And if you retweet that, well, everything we just said could all change.
Yeah. We'll publicly apologise for those statements, and we'll totally reverse our opinions and praise your good name and your good work ethic.
And not only will we endorse you for recollection, but we will demand your recollection. Your re-election. We will demand your re-election.
Yep.
We will boycott Canadian bacon if you're not re-elected to Mayor of Toronto. And we'll endorse crack. Or if you don't want us to do that, just let us know, we won't do that. If you don't want us to go that far.
We'll put some links on our site to like Betty Ford Clinic, and we'll try to give the help to the people who you inspire, and we'll try to get them some help as well.
Basically, whatever you want.
Just tell us what you want, seriously.
We'll
if it's a cheeseburger or whatever.
Yeah. We'll give you that.
Yeah.
We'll send it
Maybe
over.
it
might be a bit stale once it gets over from Australia, but Australian beef's like pretty good quality. You might enjoy it.
We'll send you some. Here it is, Rob Ford. I'll send you a box of Tim Tams. If you don't know what it is, Google Tim Tams, and then if you still don't want our retweet, then that's your
we
choice.
can't help you.
That's the best we can do.
So yeah, we'll send it out, and look forward to hearing back from you, Rob Ford, and you'll also get the coveted field follow if you do that.
Totally.
Very sought after. Now,
so there's something.
Link to Twitter.
Keep going. Run off.
Do you want to do something?
No, I was just about to say there was something about Louis C.K. that was happening on Twitter.
Yeah. So this is what I was going to touch base on. Yeah. So Louis C.K. This week posted a lot of tweets just bitching about standardized testing in America. I'm inclined to, without knowing that much about it, I'm inclined to agree with him. I think that teaching to the test isn't really a good way to learn.
Yep.
He was specifically posted some pictures of some questions which I thought were pretty poorly phrased, especially for third graders. So we went on a bit of a rant about that.
Yep.
But afterwards, so this was just like kind of a criticism that he got, which I thought was kind of interesting and sort of led to some interesting ideas. A few people said, look, you're in a position where you've got millions of followers. You're also, like, very, very popular, so people are inclined to want to just, like, agree with you. So when you tweet about something as important as this without being, like, thoroughly educated in it, like just having seen a few tests from your daughters, like, you could be caught doing more harm than good. And then he came back to saying, look, I'm a parent of 2 kids in the public school system. I'm qualified to give an opinion on it.
Yep.
Which, I think is fair.
Yep.
It is interesting, that kind of mob mentality on Twitter. And I was talking to my friend about it, and he was saying that I think a few people who had kind of argued against him, because it's, it's very much a kind of down-the-line debate in America. There's a lot of people who believe in the current standardized testing where it's going. A lot of people are really strongly against it. A lot of people have come out and given, like, pretty balanced, arguments against him in 120 characters or less. We're getting, like, kind of piled on Twitter. Now,
can I just say real quick though, what's the problem with someone having an opinion? If he's observed that's part of his life, and he's like, well, this is right or this is wrong.
I agree.
People can state their opinions, but they shouldn't say his is wrong. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, they can say his is wrong, they can, like, argue against, but to say he's wrong to give his opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't agree with that. But I'm just saying it's interesting with the celebrity how there is that mob mentality. If someone comes and says, I disagree with Louis C.K., all of a sudden 200 people tweet that person saying you're a dickhead.
Yep.
Again, like, that's not Louis C.K.'s fault, and it is kind of the fault of the guy who tweets it, because he knows he's dealing with a celebrity who's got a lot of, like, followers and, like, supporters.
Yep.
But it's interesting, that mentality. But I was saying to Henry, we try and get a bit of traction on Twitter by, like, interacting with famous people. We only do it once a week, so we're not, like, massive trolls or anything.
Yep.
But we kind of cynically try to use Twitter and, like, scab and leech off of other public figures to get more tweets. We attempt to do that, and we don't have much success. So maybe if you tweet Louis C.K. or whatever, maybe nothing does really happen. But he pointed out that I haven't publicly disagreed with many political figures, and I replied it. So what I was thinking is an additional just thing to test, is like, just as a bit of a joke. I was thinking Ricky Gervais specifically could be a good, but you can do it with any celebrity who's, like, public, but Ricky Gervais, who's, like, very active on Twitter, has lots of followers, and kind of...
In the Muppets movie?
Yes, and is just generally liked. I was thinking as a joke, I go like find one of his tweets that's just like a little bit off color, like about there being no God or whatever. And I can say like, look, that's really offensive.
Yeah, right.
And I think you should retract it. And then just like sneakily put a little link to our show on it too.
Yeah.
And then just see if we do actually get a lot of like.
That's actually not a bad idea
from it.
Because people will go through the comments and see that and go, they would have not seen us or heard about us otherwise.
Yeah.
But at least we're in front of their face and in their feed. I'm keen to do it.
All right. Well, we'll do it.
All right. So let us do that off camera and keep you updated.
We'll see if anything happens.
Yeah.
We might get a lot of tweets. I'm not going to get a lot of followers out of it. But maybe we will. I mean, that's why it's an experiment. We're open to see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to the kids for being quite quiet and
holding their positions.
I think they're painting plaster or something back there. They've just finished their cake. And...
Well, they're all in the middle of it and they've just kind of stopped for the shot, which we appreciate again. I mean, 2 hours is a long time to do that. And thank you to their parents for signing the release and the waiver.
Yep. I think
she's
she's
kind of like blood clot from holding it too long, I think.
She's there. Thanks.
Thank you. Be quiet! All right.
So that's that.
That's that. Now, I think you're gonna give us a movie review. What are you giving?
Yeah. So this is something that I would also like to bring into more episodes or not. So maybe not a recurring thing, but when there's something that comes up that we can mention is if there's a movie of any kind, whether it's a new movie or it's an old movie, it's a movie that we like or we don't like or whatever, but just let you know about something that we've seen and what we think about it. Mm-hmm. The reason that I want to do it is...
We did that last week.
We did.
We did Fargo.
But the reason that I want to do it is to give me an excuse to, off camera, have to watch a movie.
Okay.
One a week.
Sure.
So this week, last night, I watched a movie called... Fuck, I don't remember. Blinded? Wasn't that what you said earlier? This is how bad... Can you look at it? This is how bad the movie was. I don't even remember what it was called. The premise of the...
You said Blinded.
Blinded? It was, I think, 2010. So the premise of the movie was... there's about 6 central characters. And one by one, they start going blind. And they think it's something that's not normal because instead of seeing all black, they see all white. So one person has it and he's just like, they run tests on him, whatever. The eye doctor who ran the tests on him, a couple of days later, he goes blind with the same white flash. So then they're like, oh, it's contagious. So they quarantine the original dude and they quarantine the eye doctor in this place. And then the next couple of days, maybe 4 or 5 other people start getting blinded. Is it called Blinded?
I'm not getting anything with blind. It's not getting anything.
Okay. I'll find out what it's called before the end of this. But it ends up maybe about 30, 40, 50, 60 people get quarantined in this place and they're all blind, except for this one girl who pretends she's blind so she can go in there. So the whole thing becomes they're all blind, no one can go in there, like they just throw food in like little bundles and stuff they have to make do for themselves. Then they get split up into factions, so there's like Ward 1, 2 and 3. So the dude from Ward 3, he finds a gun.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, because he's got the gun, he becomes like the head honcho and he starts to like ration off the food and stuff.
Blindness.
Testing.
I
think it was called Blindness.
2008.
So then the metaphorical, that's exactly it, blindness in 2008. So the metaphorical little off script kind of thing is that there's this one chick who can see and she's like leading them, so it's like somebody with vision leading the blind. Right. Which in theory it's a good premise for a story. Mm-hmm. And apparently the book was decent, but the way it was made into this movie, basically what I told you there is a whole movie. The last scene is where I'll put this spoiler alert, which is coming in handy. So if you don't want to be spoiled, wait till you see this guy a second time, and then you can unmute your audio. But if you want to avoid the spoiler, mute it now.
That guy.
So the last scene is they break out of the quarantine area. Mm-hmm. Then there's like 50, 60 people out on the street. Everyone else has been blinded and everyone else is dead in society. So they're the ones who are alive now. and then they start to see again. End of movie.
Right. Does sound like a bit of an
Bullshit.
anticlimax.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
This whole thing, like, it's been whole set up, like, there's these different factions, these wards going at war against each other, the power struggles and stuff. There's this chick who can't see, he's like leading him out. They get out of this place, everyone's dead. They go back to their house, they can see again, roll credits. It's some bullshit.
Yeah, doesn't sound great.
Okay, so don't watch it.
How many John Stamos's would you give it?
Out of 10 John Stamos's, I'll give it 2. Because for the first 3/4 of it, it was entertaining, and I think it's a different story than I'd seen before.
Mm-hmm.
But then just the events that happened in the end that I can't mention now that the spoiler's been taken off,
Right.
unraveled it all, and it just made it absolutely worthless. And I do not wish anybody to lose the 89 minutes or however long that was of their life watching that piece of shit movie.
Strong words, but
it had
spoken with conviction.
It had good names in it.
From a real place.
It had good names. I didn't recognize the people, but I recognized the people, but not who they were or where they're from. But like this dude,
Julianne Moore.
this guy's a guy.
Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. Both Julianne Moore, Mark Ruffalo. And,
Do you know who they are?
Yeah, Julianne Moore is used by Paul Thomas Anderson a bit, who's one of my favorite directors.
Right.
He made Boogie Nights, Magnolia, There Will Be Blood.
Right.
I mean, he's made other stuff too, but I mean, those three, geez, that's quite a. He's got a new film coming out this year, actually called Inherent Vice, based on a novel that I haven't read, but it's about a chronic pot smoking detective.
Right.
Kind of noir, like, it sounds really cool. It's going to have Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
So yeah, Julianne Moore does stuff like that. She's in stuff like Children of Men too. I mean, she's got a good career. She's got a good. And Mark Ruffalo, I'm not as familiar with him. I know he plays the Incredible Hulk in the
That's who
Avengers.
he is. Yeah, you're absolutely.
And he was in Zodiac, was a good film he was in. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with his films, but
skip Blinded.
And I had we were going for 2 hours. It takes me out of here. I had
You can be a bit more graceful. There you go.
yeah. I did I have a TV review.
Okay.
For you. I watch more TV than movies, so I reckon on review days I'll probably be more likely to be doing television.
What do you got?
These last week I did Fargo, and this week I'm gonna do a quick review of the last week tonight with John Oliver.
Okay.
John Oliver used to be on The Daily Show, and he actually took over hosting duties from Jon Stewart for a few months while Jon Stewart was away.
Yeah.
So kind of made his mark then. And people generally gave him high reviews, so he did a very good job. So HBO approached him afterward and were like, hey, John Oliver, come do a weekly kind of news parody show with us.
Okay.
And he said, all right, and he did. And so what it is, it's... First of all, I'll say the negative thing about it. It's pretty much just the fucking Daily Show. Like, it is very, very, very similar. Like, they just, like, monologue with kind of picture gags in the background, kind of like a news desk type thing. It's a bit longer because it's a week in review.
What's the format? It's like interviews and stuff, or...?
There's only one show so far.
Okay.
They didn't have an interview.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, they did have an interview, but it wasn't like, here's Julianne Moore to promote a new movie, Blinded. It was like, it was like a Daily Show segment again, like at the end where he went and he interviewed like a former NSA chief. And
it just cuts to the footage and...
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, like, and that was actually very funny. Like, one of the things he had, he was like, you know what, National Security Agency, like, it just sounds like too full on and scary. You should call it Mr. Mittens, and you should have like a picture of like a little kitty cat. So now when it's like, NSA like is invading our privacy, listen to our phone calls, like, look what Mr. Mittens is doing. It's listening to our calls, Mr. Mittens, and like, it was pretty funny. So overall, I thought he did a good job. I thought the presentation was great, but the show was just like way too much like the Daily Show, like kind of a direct ripoff. But hey, it's the very first show, so I'm sure they'll like kind of keep changing it up. And
it's HBO, you said?
It. Yeah.
Okay.
And HBO have a pretty good track record.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I would give that. Can I give something a half John Stamos at all, or is that too hard for you to animate?
Just say it, and we'll see what happens.
I'll give it 6.5. To
Oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah, 6.5.
Cool.
6.5.
All right. Based on one episode.
Based on one episode, yeah.
Would you watch the second episode?
Yes, I will be watching the second episode.
Cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is something that is in the news. Well, is in like the TMZ kind of news recently. So Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
The Biebs.
The Beebmeister.
For a while, there was a sweeping fad where people were having Bieber fever. So to combat this, Bieber's actually been endorsing cough syrup use. Mm-hmm. All right, there's no direct link there, but so within the hip hop community, like the kind of mainstream, Lil Wayne and 3 6 Mafia and all these, their drug of choice is a drink called Sizzurp, which is it was popularized by 3 6 Mafia in the song called Sippin on Sizzurp. Basically, what it is it's high strength cough syrup with Sprite, and they've glamorized it as with ice in a double styrofoam cup. So you'd have that in a Sizzurp.
Does it taste okay?
Yeah. So the leading brand of the cough syrup they put in, it's called promethazine. Promethazine has like a cherry flavor or whatever. And when you put that with the Sprite and keep it chilled, apparently it tastes really nice.
That sounds like it must be so bad for you. I mean, I know most drugs and drug abuse are bad for you, but because cough syrup, you're supposed to take a little bit of it and it like goes and basically cleans out. So if you were how much like out of a cough syrup bottle, how much cough syrup?
Well, it's hard to gauge because it's considerably more high strength. It's basically the highest strength cough syrup that you can get without needing a prescription. So I guess if you think about having the normal 300 ml cough syrup or whatever condensed into a shot and having that shot and seeing how fucked up you get, but then you drink it all night. So the basis of...
So would Lil Wayne get through like half a bottle of cough syrup?
Again, I'm no expert in...
And what happens to you mentally, do you know?
So in the promethazine, it's an opiate, so it's basically the same effects as like heroin. Like it would slow you down. You know, have you heard?
Is it highly addictive?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's addictive or not, but once you like that effect, then you'd want to keep doing that. But if you think about, have you heard of like chopped and screwed music? So like the hip hop music, and it's all slowed down and it like repeats itself, that kind of style.
Not really. No.
So it was a DJ who has passed away now, DJ Screw, made this genre called chopped and screwed, and the genre was based for people who take this cough syrup and feel the effects of the promethazine. So the music was all slowed down and just kept like jumping and repeating itself and stuff. So apparently that's the kind of effects that you can expect. So just back to Justin Bieber, all this time, like he's been spotted at parties with like the double styrofoam cup. And purple drank, but he's never said like he's done it or whatever.
Yeah, right.
He's just like, I'm just like a bunch of amongst all these cool people who are doing it, and I just happen to have the same cup. But now he's released this new song, which is called not even sure what the song's called, but in it he compares his love, like his female love, to a love of cough syrup in a single.
And is it the full premise of the song, or is it just one line?
It's a couple of lines.
Okay, right.
But it's a huge step though, because it just totally unwinds all his credibility that he's tried to maintain, which kind of shows that now what he's pushing for is I'm the cool, like, law-breaking bad boy. I do what the hip hop guys do.
We covered the drag racing in our very first audio episode.
Yeah.
Have you pulled that off the website, by the way? We should probably put those back up so people who do tune in like this can go and get those two original
on there? Ones. Oh, the audios.
Yeah, I think once we had to change the layout of the audio page. I think we might have taken the links down.
They're on iTunes?
They are on iTunes.
Excuse me, so if you want to check that out.
Yeah, right.
But let me find exactly the lyrics on this.
Okay.
But I don't know who runs his PR or who does his like his public image or whatever. But you can't, after all the effort that he's done to try to like hide the shit and just say like, you know, think what you want of me, but I don't do this. And now he's like basically saying he's doing it. And now I find this
bad form, Justin Bieber.
Yeah. So that was in the that was in the news. Like it's all over TMZ and stuff like that.
I wonder if he's still allowed to hang out with Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith, that seems like one of those little... He seems like a bigger douchebag than Justin Bieber.
I'm a fan of Jaden Smith.
Really? Oh, God, he's just like... I saw him on, my friend Tom told me to check out, like, their appearance on Graham Norton. And just everything that's, like, said, Jaden's like, oh, yeah, and then this happened, and I had to say, oh, God. Like, so, like, just shut up, kid. No one cares about you. Like, they're only tuning in because you're a dad.
But he went through that when he was considerably younger. Now he's a grown-up dude.
He's like 18.
Yeah.
But he still acts like a spoiled brat, like a little shit. Stop jumping around and saying shit, Jaden Smith.
It's just the people that he's with.
And, like, his dad's encouraging, like, as opposed to getting him to audition and actually, like, you know, kind of climb the ladder a little bit. Because you're already going to be really privileged if your dad's Will Smith. You're going to get parts and favourable treatment.
Yep.
But, like, Will Smith gets, like, M. Night Shyamalan or whatever, how you pronounce it, to like, actually make, like, $100 million blockbuster purely for the purpose of actually kind of, you know, putting his son on the poster. No, there was that too. But then there was After Earth, which was your massive bomb.
That sucked.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Will Smith. I'll watch and listen to everything he does, but I couldn't even watch the movie. Like, halfway through, I'm like...
You left.
And then I watched fucking Blinded instead. Not really. But that was a bad movie.
Yeah, I heard, and it absolutely bombed too. And it was made, like, again, like $100 million movie that was made purely just to kind of promote Jaden Smith.
All right.
Like, here's the next star. We're telling you who the next star is.
Yeah,
don't decide for yourself after watching, you know.
Karate Kid was a decent movie, but what's funny, and it kind of links this back in.
It was okay, yeah.
Yeah, for what it is. But it kind of links it back in. During the credits when they're scrolling, it has that Never Say Never song, which is Justin Bieber and Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
And you can just see,
friends, yeah.
like, you know, Will Smith, we did Men in Black theme song, Wild Wild West theme, all this. Mm-hmm. So you can just tell he's like, Jaden, this is what you need to do. Mm. And if you listen or read the lyrics of it, like, it just sounds like he's so confused. He's talking about his role in the movie. He's like, they might be bigger than me and stronger than me, but they're not on a Justin Bieber track like me. It's like, what the fuck? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Of course they're not. They're characters in a kung fu movie. Anyway.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the idea of that song sounds horrible. And especially like, Justin Bieber and the son of like one of the most famous, richest men in Hollywood, like, can't get me down. It's like, no shit, I can't get you down.
You're fucking high on promethazine. Here is a feel-good kind of element on this whole the cough syrup thing.
It makes my skin crawl, seriously. Child stars.
Yeah, it has to be said that Karate Kid song was when they were both very young. So Justin Bieber was in his uprising.
So even more annoying though. Yeah. Justin Bieber thing ain't that bad because Justin Bieber is actually self-made through YouTube and stuff. I mean,
and Usher.
and Usher, but like, I mean, Usher discovered him and stuff. True. But yeah, Jaden Smith getting on that bandwagon.
What about Willow Smith?
Oh yeah, she seems alright. Yeah. She kind of just hangs out.
And there's
Jaden Smith really annoys me.
There's another Smith, Trey Smith. No one ever talks about because he's not biological to Jada Pinkett. It's like Will Smith from his previous marriage.
Oh, so he's like all grown up, like about 20, like our age or whatever.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And apparently they try to portray him as the star quarterback for this team. No one's heard of him.
Right.
So now Will's putting his authority behind him becoming a music producer.
Right.
Just to kind of make something of his life and not embarrass Will Smith too much, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
But he's like the Forgotten Smith. But just a feel-good element of the cough syrup saga.
Oh wow, feel-good element, the cough syrup saga.
So I
like that sentence.
I do. Yeah, it is.
It should be the name of his next album.
Will Smith.
No, Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
A feel-good element, the cough syrup saga by Justin Bieber. I'd buy that.
I would too. So I do have to retract the statement I said before, where the leading brand that was the flavored and the choice was promethazine. That's incorrect. Promethazine is the active element. It's the the drug element of the formula. The brand is Activist, and Activists they've recognised that people are especially buying their brand to make Sizzurp or Purple Drank or whatever, and abusing their formula. So they've actually taken it off the shelves. So you're not allowed to. Well, it's illegal to stock now,
right?
Even though it's a medical formula and it helps people that need it. So I think that is actually a good move for Activists, because they will be making a lot of money, regardless of if people are misusing it, like just as a medical syrup.
Yeah.
But now they're like, well, we're doing more harm than we're doing good for the right reason, so we're pulling the product.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of.
Not fair enough.
I think that's responsible of them to do. So that's that.
Yeah, Justin Bieber's. It looks like he's kind of like checking out Lil Wayne there. Why is Lil Wayne in a concert with Justin Bieber? Like, aren't they kind of two different sort of celebrities?
I guess they can both benefit from being seen with each other. Like Lil Wayne his whole shtick is that he does ridiculous stuff. Mm-hmm. He wears like women's leggings. His lyrics are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
He pops up in ridiculous places and does strange voices. So having Justin Bieber there, it's a bit of fun for him. And Justin Bieber is seen with some of the rap stars, and he
gets a bit more street cred for it.
He thinks he does, but people laugh behind his back. Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, mm-hmm. came out to his recent fight with Lil Wayne rapping in front of him.
Yeah.
And again, the Biebs right next to him. Next to Floyd Mayweather, like one of the huge, richest dudes. And you walk out with Justin Bieber.
Oh, Floyd.
I think it's like not a secret society thing, but just like an unspoken kind of, who's going to have Justin Bieber next?
Right. Maybe he can do something with Eminem. I've seen him cover "Lose Yourself."
Justin Bieber.
I saw a clip of it.
That's not cool.
It's not really appropriate. Now, did you want to go on to our final segment and then do a bit of freestyling after? Like, just kind of...
Yep. And by freestyling, we mean just talking off the topic, not freestyle rapping.
Yeah, because we've got, like, planned subjects for this that we've kind of written down. And then we're going to do our final segment. And then after that, we'll have probably about 20 minutes or whatever. We're just going to kind of,
There is something else that I can run off the back of this story is when we were speaking last week about Don Sterling having to lose control of the LA Clippers, the basketball team. Mm-hmm. He's the racist guy who made the racist comments and he's been outed.
And was racist, yeah.
Yeah. So Floyd Mayweather has said he wants to buy the team. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have enough money to do it, so he's trying to get other people to back it.
Right.
So I forget who it is, but a whole bunch of people, like 5 or 6 celebrities, want to put their money together and buy this team.
Hey, did you see V's to Viano or whatever? She didn't leak the tape.
Oprah as well. Sorry?
She didn't leak the tape. V's to Viano, she didn't put it out.
You sure?
Yeah, so, I mean, well, at least you say so, and I don't see she didn't have much of a motivation to lie.
Okay.
She says that she did tape it and she gave it to a friend for safekeeping, and then her friend leaked it. And also she didn't, she says that she doesn't think he's racist, which is kind of a tall order.
And why was she taping it?
I don't know why she was taping it.
Okay, so if she taped it, she says he's not racist, then what's the problem?
I don't know.
This is one of the weirdest stories.
But, yeah. She was also saying she's not his mistress. She's saying she's kind of like his assistant, who he buys a few things for sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a lot of recordings. This isn't the first time she's done it.
Oh, there's...
And at the start of the recording...
more to come?
Oh, stuff that he doesn't say anything bad and it's not worthy of news. But apparently at the start of the recording in question, he makes it apparent that he knows it's being recorded.
Okay. All right. Weird.
Some other people that want to buy the LA Clippers: Oprah Winfrey,
that.
Magic Johnson, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon?
Yep.
Really?
He's probably just oh yeah, I'll buy it. And
you need a lot though, don't you?
Yeah.
You need kind of Oprah money, don't you?
Yep. That's why even Oprah can't do it. But she probably could, but it wouldn't be feasible for her to do by herself. They need a few people to do it.
Right.
P Diddy as well. So he's always been like Nix, and he's like, If there's money to be made, I'll go. I'll go to another town.
Yeah.
And then the black horse, or I'd say his taste, we like the white horse in the whole thing is that Malcolm in the Middle dude. Muniz?
Frankie Muniz,
Yeah, this dude. It's like, fuck off.
He can't
We're
have that
buying a
much
team
money.
over here. You stay over there.
Is he like in an indie band now?
Really?
Yeah, I think he's acting. He's like in an indie band.
Wow. I can see him like some faux punk band or something. Like something ridiculous.
Something like that.
Is it like rock indie or
Yeah. Something
doing
like that.
what?
I think he's drums.
Okay, I can see that. Because he'll be in the middle of the stage.
Anyway, should we move on to the segment?
Yep.
Alright.
What segment?
Go and do the jingle.
Oh.
So on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's old, it's stupid, it's no longer relevant, it's dumb and dusted.
So, this is a segment every week at the end of the show. Obviously, this week it's not quite at the end. We're going to have a bit of a bonus for you afterward. Just go around at that second hour. But we choose something from the past that's no longer around, that we don't really have any nostalgia for, and we think is, good riddance to it, really.
So we don't miss it. The only reason why we're mentioning it is because we shouldn't mention it.
Yeah, just say it's dumb and dusted.
Yep.
It's
Let's bring it back up.
yeah, whatever. It's kind of
and then let it to rest.
Bury it again.
Yep.
So it's a relatively new segment. We've done woolly mammoths.
Yep.
Stupid things.
Haven't heard of them since.
No. Shakespearean language.
Haven't heard any of that since.
No. Walking the street, haven't heard no these or thous or anything. Just,
Not even one.
No. So those are both dumb and dusted.
So this week,
Charlie Chaplin.
no.
Dumb and dusted.
He has no place in our society anymore.
Absolutely not. Not like people are like, oh, they still try to be pretentious about it. They're like, oh, it's genius. It's one of the greatest films of all time. Go watch it.
Yeah.
All right. If you went into a cinema and you saw Jim Carrey or Ben Stiller or whatever do that, just ooh, I mean, I can't even imitate it. But if you saw that, you'd be like, this is bollocks. I'm leaving. We watched a clip before. It's like, oh, I'm in a cage with a lion. Ooh, I locked myself in. Ooh, might try and get up to this door. Oh, it's a tiger. Fancy that. Don't go there. Ooh, the lion's sleeping. Ooh, I hope it doesn't wake up.
And then he just left the cage, and that was the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And then he was up on the flagpole for some reason.
Yeah, he's running on a flagpole, and he, flew down, and apparently that was supposed to be funny.
No.
Also, French subtitles. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
They cut to, a French word. Charlie Chaplin wasn't French, was he? He was American.
Not sure. But there's a few things which I don't wish to see
He was
rehashed.
born in England.
Okay. Where was it filmed? Where was it primary market? A few things that I don't wish to see back in our modern culture is black and white, grainy images. There's no need for that.
Yeah, we've gotten better.
There's no CGI. Like, why couldn't he have some CGI, like some thunderbolts or some aliens or something? It could have had a CGI lion that ate him. There was no dialogue. So even sometimes he would be like talking, and then there wasn't even like a flashcard saying what his words were. He would just be talking and you wouldn't even know what he's talking about. He had a silly moustache, which there's no place for that anymore.
You know who else had a moustache like that? Hitler.
Yep.
That's not cool.
No.
And he satirized Hitler, which I guess was one of the good things he did, but he didn't shave the moustache.
Right.
Even after the film was done.
And that crazy music that he had, like especially he was like tiptoeing around and stuff, like you don't need to do that. Put some like Ludacris or something on.
I think he did move to America, but you know what? He died in Switzerland.
Yeah, he was kicked out of his country.
Probably.
Yeah, for some reason. He was a communist sympathizer.
Yeah, that's right. He was accused of communist sympathies. So that's not cool. I mean,
so obviously,
the Reds.
Yep.
They,
So obviously, people knew what was up. They're like, people don't need to be watching these films.
He also got a Lifetime Achievement Award
for being a communist.
Yeah. But you know who gets Lifetime Achievement Awards?
Communists.
No, people who never won one before.
Yeah.
So
There's a reason
he
why.
wasn't- Yeah, he was kind of like not as talented as people made out.
No.
But then they're like, oh, people say Charlie Chaplin's good, so we better give him not the
No,
honorary one.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin, right place, right time. But as a character and as a person and an actor, useless.
Not relevant anymore.
Not relevant at all. Back then it was like, oh, he's doing this. But it was the people that were running the cameras and cutting the tapes and whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
The tiger had a better role in that episode that we watched than him.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin, dumb and dusted.
Dusted.
As a character, as a idea, people saying like he's set up for other people to be doing stuff nowadays, like slapstick comedy, Laurel and Hardy, and all this. He had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It's not really
Just
the same thing.
no.
Want to see a good film? Go watch Goodfellas.
Yeah,
Want to have a laugh?
it was
Watch
in colour.
Yeah. Want to have a laugh? Watch South Park.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin's just dumb and dusted, quite frankly.
Although South Park and Charlie Chaplin walked the same.
Oh, kind of, I guess. But that's incidental. I
think it
had any
was.
influence
No.
on it. Dumb and dusted.
Dumb and dusted.
So that's Charlie Chaplin, and that's normally when we wrap up the show, but we've got about 15 odd minutes.
Yep.
We're just going to stay with you. We're just going to go on a bit of a rant. Nice wine this week.
It is.
What do you want to...
We can't really
We
plug
can't
it.
plug the winery. No.
Not until they start paying us. But this is what the lid looks like.
Good lid.
Yep.
Keeps the flavour in.
So there was a thought about not drinking wine on the show, but having some kind of energy drink or something to keep our stamina up. But
Right.
I think we've done 2 hours, and you know, you had a few
Well,
yawns here and
an
there.
hour and 44 minutes and 27 seconds. But
Yeah.
after we tap in the introduction, there'll be like another 30 seconds on top of that. But
Yep.
yeah, I had some water before the show.
But I've got no problem just keeping the especially keeping the vocal cords lubricated with the wine.
Yeah, it is good for that.
It's not like we're getting drunk. A lot of people got problems with drinking on, like, for a start, it's not illegal to drink. It's not illegal to drink on a show.
No, so
and
if
it
the cops are
hasn't,
watching, don't go breaking our door down
And it
because
has-
we're going to get law book out and shake it in your face.
it hasn't affected our performance either. So get off our backs.
Speaking of laws, you know the thing I saw on the internet recently? You know how in the States they've got like the international border to Mexico or whatever, and they've got that kind of border control people. In the Constitution, it's illegal for police at the border or whatever to demand ID or whatever. But they can't. They actually can't check you out.
Right.
You're allowed to refuse. There's a really cool YouTube video where they just kind of drive up and they're like filming it, and the cops like, so where are you guys going? And like they don't answer this question. They're just like, are we free to go? And they're like, you know what? You got a constitutional right, and I really respect you guys taking that. You know, we get some people coming through who are really rude and whatever, and like, you know, and shout at us. We don't like that. That's not very nice. But you know, we appreciate you, you know, getting your amendment rights and everything, and you just have a good trip. And then they just go. Like
So they're
I said,
not allowed to search either.
Yeah, no.
What's the point of them being there?
Well, I mean, I guess a lot of libertarians and stuff say there isn't a point. They shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just security. But yeah, it's kind of redundant security because so long as
crazy.
someone knows their rights, then they're allowed to refuse any.
All right.
You know, another thing actually that reminds me. Another thing I saw this week. I saw some police patting down a guy with their drug sniffer dog. I saw him down this road. I never thought about it before, but like with the train station, I always thought, yeah, that's fair enough because it's kind of like publicly owned, like it's almost like an airport. Like if you're bringing stuff through it, we can check. But dude, like if
the street.
if a cop came out to me on the street and the dog, I'd be like, no, surely I can refuse. Like I would put up a fight with that. I would be like, you can't just search me and pat me down
This is the
on
thing.
my way to work. Like that's not okay.
The thing is, they're allowed to, if the dog is following a scent, they're allowed to follow that. So what they do is when they're walking past you, they'll like pull on the lead and say seek, which means the dog starts looking for shit just as it's walking past you. So that if the dog initiates it, then they're allowed to follow it. But they're not allowed to say stop here, dog, check this guy out. So it's sneaky shit.
And I mean, but the thing is, like, dogs develop a real relationship with their owner, so, like, they can pick up if like, the owner's... Like,
That's what they do.
I read an article about it, yeah, they can pick up that, like, the owner wants me to seek. Oh,
Exactly.
this guy really? All right, cool.
Exactly.
Nah, I'll be like, I don't trust that fucking dog. That dog doesn't dictate my privacy. I'd refuse and go to the station.
And I don't think it's grounds for them to say they suspect something. At all. Like, you could just be walking home with fucking...
People always fuck with that, oh, grounds for suspicion, I smell it.
Yep.
Fuck what you smell.
Yep.
That's not good, reasonable cause.
You can be in a public bar, or pub or whatever, like in an outside courtroom. Somebody there is smoking marijuana, so you get some of the smoke on you. That smoke will stay on you, and the dog will pick up that scent. If you happen to have stolen rubies in your pocket, then the dog picks you up for that scent, which you have nothing to do with. You just happen to have it on you.
Right.
Then they find the rubies. You get busted for the rubies.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Did you read the story about the guy?
That was a roundabout explanation, but
Did you read the story about the guy in the States? This is going a few months ago now. Like, okay, guy suspected of having pot or whatever. Searched him. Couldn't find it. Took him, did like a scan of him. Couldn't find it. Goes into his ass. They do all that. Couldn't find it. They give him an enema. Like,
yeah.
They invaded like his body on a deep level. They had nothing.
Yeah. It gets no conversation or anything.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's why
they can't even take them to court.
Yeah. Because then they're like, well, we're doing this as a public safety thing.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's why, like what you said before, the grounds of suspicion, it's not enough to fuck with somebody's life or their well-being. Like, he could say that happened to him and then he had a medical issue off that.
Kind of thing, yeah.
So he'd done nothing wrong, and potentially he could have life injuries or whatever.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
It's not right. It ain't right, people. Write to your local law representation politician person and tell them that you listen to FIOG, and FIOG
says no.
No.
Not anymore.
Don't do that.
But people
We're not gonna take it. Oh, we're gonna take it.
You seen that film clip? Twisted Sister?
Isn't it like they go into like the house and like yeah.
One of the best groundbreaking film clips of that kind.
Michael Jackson's black and white video is kind of a similar premise at the start, isn't it? Like,
oh yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. Michael Jackson kind of comes and cheers him up, but then it just like kind of follows Michael Jackson doing his own thing.
Yeah.
But the start is like Macaulay Culkin blasting his dad by shooting the guitar,
and then the dad slams the door and the picture frame falls, and then the song starts.
Yeah.
That shit was bad. They don't do that shit anymore.
Like, make proper big music videos.
Make stories that put the shit on mute, and there's still a story in the video.
Sometimes Michael Jackson ones can be too much though, because Michael Jackson did that with like every video, and there's a few like the one with Eddie Murphy is like, I think a bit too much, like in Egypt or whatever.
Yeah.
Got a bit too much sometimes. I mean, Thriller is obviously like a classic, but
I recently read that Kanye had a 30-minute film clip or something.
Oh, that was kind of like All of the Lights or whatever, but he kind of turned it into... It wasn't... I don't think it was just for one particular song. I think it was for like a few songs. He's got like an extended music video.
Which is like a Moonwalker. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Yeah, I didn't like that when I saw it.
Really?
I was like probably 7 or 8.
But that's like a movie, and then the songs happen in it.
Yeah.
Kind of like we were talking about Prince on that Batman soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of shit, where you have a story, but then you have music, and then you can break it down. You pull the music off, and that's the soundtrack by itself, and then you have the movie by itself. You put them together, and you get something huge. They don't do that shit anymore.
Kanye West one's really cool, actually. I'd recommend checking it out.
What's it for? What song? What songs? How do we find it?
Go to YouTube and just type in Kanye West movie. I'm sure like it will be one of the results. You can just tell by the length. It'll be like Kanye West will have a title that seems right, and it'll say it's like 47 minutes or whatever. And you'll be like, okay,
we'll check it out.
Yeah, but it's good. Your wife's a bird. Yeah, I know.
South Park?
It's like, no, it's actually in the thing.
Really?
Like, your wife is a bird or something.
Yeah, right.
Because he's just like with a bird, like a lady dressed like a bird. I think this is like pre Kim Kardashian.
Right.
Yeah. South Park's episode on him, that was one I was saying that had their quality drops. That was one of the relatively recent episodes that was really good. The Kanye West one. The original Kanye West one. The most recent Kanye West one was just okay.
Okay.
But the Fish Sticks one was great.
That's one I didn't see.
Oh, you didn't see the Fish Sticks one?
No.
Oh, it's a classic.
Right.
I'll have to get it to you.
The way I do it is I can't watch South Park like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll like flick through it, see the description, see what it's about. If it's something that I'm invested in or I want to see what their opinion is, then I'll watch the episode.
Right.
So I'll see Kanye, I'll watch that one.
Yeah. Okay. It's just called. I think it's just called Fish Sticks.
Okay.
Something like that.
I'll check it out.
And it's got one of the best jokes in the world in it.
What's the joke?
So Kevin, do you like fish sticks?
Oh.
You know? Joke.
Alright, let's try again.
Hey Kevin, do you like fish sticks?
Yeah.
What are you, a gay fish?
Oh. Yeah, alright.
Yeah.
Stick by my first answer.
Yeah. It's really good the way they do it. Like they have Ellen telling it and everything. Like, you know,
Yeah, right.
like, oh, it's so good.
You know what is a good spin-off from those writers is that basketball movie. You seen that?
Yeah.
That's
you know,
really good.
they didn't write it, you know?
Oh, really? That's why I like
That's
it.
it's David Zucker, the guy who makes Aeroplane. They kind of decide. You don't know Aeroplane?
Flying High. The movie?
No, yeah, it's called Aeroplane. With an exclamation mark, Aeroplane. No, like, surely you can't be serious.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm serious.
Flying High.
Don't you ever call me surely. Oh, is that what they're called in Australia?
Yeah. Aeroplane Flying High. See? Yeah, I didn't know that. There you go. So what did they have to do? They just starred in it.
Yeah, so it must have been an alternative title for Australia. So they just starred in it. So it was just around South Park and David Zucker like this stuff. So I think he's called David Zucker. I might have gotten that wrong. But he's okay being in the movie, and they're like big fans of him, so they did it. But they've kind of disowned the movie now because it is very silly. Like I like it, I enjoy it too. But they
Basketball.
Yeah. But they've kind of disowned it. They said that the biggest insult they ever get is, "Hey, aren't you those guys from basketball?"
Jerry Zucker and David Zucker.
Okay, cool.
Okay, but they're probably doing that because they can't take full credit for it.
Yeah, I guess, but like, they said they invented the word derp on the set of basketball.
Okay.
So someone would like run into it, like be running and like they'd hit a ball and go, ugh, and then like they'd be like, derp. Like that's like what. So derp kind of just means like a joke that you can see coming, like really obvious.
Yeah, right.
And that's kind of what they think defines basketball. Like it's just kind of like a bunch of like very obvious low rent gags. But I still think it's good dumb comedy. There's a fly.
Yeah. I'm not just matrixing around.
Speaking of our parents, I know I'm very red this episode. Am I actually just red in person, Kevin, or is it something that the light's doing?
I think it's the lights.
Okay. So if you're wondering, just lighting. That's why I look.
Nothing to worry about.
That's why I look like a tomato.
No need to reach out to the GP on Matt's behalf.
Yeah, no.
Just the lighting.
Just lighting. But yeah, derp's a good word.
It is. It's got a negative connotation now.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of you derped around.
Yeah.
Like you something silly.
I did enjoy basketball. I didn't enjoy Team America. I know.
You didn't enjoy Team America?
I know you and a lot of people do, but
Man. Why didn't you? What is it? Why didn't you enjoy Team America?
like I don't mind a patriotism, but I don't think like I can't get behind somebody putting another culture down, like for the sake of a few laughs.
What culture were they putting down?
Like all the North and South Koreans and everyone that wasn't America, basically.
Well, they were just putting down like Kim Jong Il as like an example of an evil guy.
Like it's funny.
It was
like,
kind of like what they've said is that Team America Above All Else is not really a political movie. It's a parody of Jerry Bruckheimer films.
Okay.
Like, you know, like Pearl Harbor or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming up.
Yeah.
There's really patriotic, like, whoa, like, you know, movie kind of things. That's what they're making fun of first and foremost, of Team America.
Yeah, okay, but Shredder in Ninja Turtles is of Japanese heritage.
Sure.
They're not going to, like, give him a crazy accent and, like, make fun of him or make fun of his character on the...
So it's like, I'm so wrong, Reed? That's what you don't like about it, the kind of, like...
Just it doesn't need to... Like, they don't need to do that.
Right.
You have, like, the bad guy is the bad guy. It's not the person that you laugh at and then you laugh at, like, their culture or whatever. Whether it's their accent or their appearance or, like, you keep that
There's
off.
nothing about...
But that's not entertainment.
About
That's
North Korean culture and the thing.
As a person...
We're a little about it.
No, but it is. When you, like, make fun of somebody's look or the way they sound or whatever, like, that's making fun of their culture.
Mm.
I don't. If you're making a funny movie, it should be a funny movie, or you make a movie which is like it dives into.
Have you seen Orgasmo?
Differences. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
I don't really like Orgasmo that much, but I really do like. There's another one they have called Cannibal the Musical.
Okay.
That's like part of the reason that's great is it's so low budget. It's like this student film, and again, it's got musical numbers in it, and it's just so low rent that that one I think is the better of the two kind of independent ones.
Okay. But I know Orgasmo's got like a cult following as well and stuff. Like people like that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's very silly. Orgasmo's very, very silly. It's not really my kind of thing, but
yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
People like it. This is episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
We're nearing the goal line. Just want to give shout outs again to
the kids' party for being with us here.
Yeah.
It's been a long. I'm tired. I can't imagine how tired they are having to hold their position so much, but
they've been partying. Got their red cordial and
yeah.
Do we get we've been promised party bags.
Oh, wouldn't that be shit when you're a kid?
Yep.
Well, we have been talking about. By the way, I do apologise to the parents. We have been talking about like a lot of drugs and
in our language.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So sorry about that. They were the shit when you just go to a party and you got like all those sweets and stuff. And
because then the party doesn't end. You get home and you're like, oh, Robbie, like you remember the birthday person because you got this memento.
Their birthday, you're getting all the presents.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting most of the presents because you brought them a present.
True. But everyone can celebrate.
That was one other point. It's the best thing about Christmas. That's the reason you like Christmas more when you're a kid or a birthday, because it's the only way that you can actually obtain material possessions. Like even when you're adult, if you're poor, you know that if you were to get a job or get income, then you could buy a TV or whatever.
Yep.
When you're a kid, literally the only way you can get it is someone else buying it for you.
True.
That's my theory on why Christmas and birthdays are so good to a kid.
True.
So I just dropped some knowledge there. That's a good thing to end the episode on.
Take that and use that in your everyday life. Don't thank us. Thank yourself. And tune in next week on episode 11 where we'll be back to the 1 hour format.
Goodbye.